Baby, let me take you for a ride. It's crazy that we on the same vibe. I really wanna try to stay on the same side. So can you stay tonight just so we do it right? Yeah.
I almost enjoy doing more of those like pit, like little like podcast stuff, because like those guys, like who are able to do like what like these NASA events and like the CCA, like you were saying, like these are like rich guys.
Oh yeah.
Like, and especially even like for drifting, like it's like there's some of that, but I feel like all those like NASA guys, like they're all like rich guys.
Yeah.
Like there's, you think there's any like grassroots guys that
No,
are
there
like
are.
fucking around with
They
that?
they do the best they can, and a lot of it depends on what class you're racing. So like for BMW Club, we do very limited NASA stuff. Most of our racing, like I do all my track days through NASA because NASA's cheaper. And that's just what my boss decides he wants to pay for because he covers all my track days.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, that was a nice. It
Is
wasn't really a like it wasn't in the contract when I started, but it was kind of encouraged of like, hey, at least once or twice a year, let me go out and like pay for me to race. Because the idea was when you go out, I'm going to the track, I'm going for track support.
Yeah.
I'm going out, I'm supporting people who are driving all day. I need to be able to take the cars out and drive the cars. You can't just show up and say, oh, I'm pit crew.
Yeah.
And go drive somebody's car on track. Like you gotta at least have a racing license. So the goal was to get me push me through driving school. I can at least get a somewhat, at least a high level DE license, like an instructor's license, so that I can go out on. So like pretty much whether it's BMW Club or if it's NASA, they have races. And then they have in between the races, like your race is usually 40 minutes roughly.
Yeah.
From start to finish, a little bit of pit time in there, but in between those you have driver school.
Yeah.
And they have different run groups. You know, your amateur guys all the way up to your advanced level guys. So if you pretty much have an instructor's license, you can just do whatever you want. Like if you're not, you can't race, but I can go jump in. Like if I have an instructor's license, I can jump into DE1. I can jump into DE2, DE3. I can just go out and drive. So it was the idea.
But like it's like not competing.
No, you're not competing.
Yeah,
you're just driving,
yeah.
and it's point buys. Like it's not open passing.
Right.
Like if you go out and someone's in front of you who's slow and you bomb past them,
Yeah.
you're gonna get black flagged. You're off track.
Okay.
Like you
So you
can't
have to
pass a
follow.
car. You have to point out the window.
Yeah.
Tell people where to pass you.
Yeah.
You know, it's meant to be safe for everybody.
Yeah.
Which realistically, like guys, you get into the upper levels of the DE racing, and guys, I say racing, it's not racing. It's DE, it's driver's education.
Right.
And guys go out and they think they're fast. For NASA, at least, and your buddy who does NASA, like I bet if you ask him, he'll say the same thing. So you have DE 1, 2. They have Advanced 2, which is almost its own group,
Yeah.
but you still run with the normal DE 2 guys.
Yeah.
Then you have 3 and 4.
Yeah.
4 is as high as you go. A lot of guys will stay in 3. So like when I go to the track for like a NASA event, my boss, who is a BMW Club racer, he's been driving for years and years and years. His dad also, he has a competition license. You can get a competition license. You don't necessarily have to go race with it. You go to competition school. They teach you a lot of things like normal things you wouldn't learn driving normally. Like you're driving with NASA and like, oh, well, this is your line. You know, you take your line, you do this. Oh, this is how you go a little bit faster. When you go to competition school, it's all about learning to drive off of your line. Because when you're racing, you're never on your line.
Yeah.
You have a perfect line or there are no cars around you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you got to make do with what you get. So they teach you how to pass when there's 4 cars wide into the first corner.
Yeah.
Like you figure a way out.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys like doing the competition school.
Yeah.
So guys that get to DE3, both of them, they drive in DE3. My boss races. He could go drive in DE4.
Yeah.
DE4 apparently is just this lawless. I believe they do open passing. Everybody thinks they're racing. Like they are like, and like this is an E36 M3.
Yeah.
It's moderate. It's prepped. Like it's on,
Yeah.
you know, MCS suspension. Like it's a proper race car.
Yeah.
But it's 250 horsepower at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You go into DE4, there's C7 Z06s.
Yeah.
And like full aero, full slicks. We put 245s on that instead of 245 Hoosiers, and we're like, fuck, like that's a lot of tire.
Dude.
These guys are on 315 Hoosiers, and like
Yeah,
you'll break a rib going to turn 1 if you don't lift. Like they're serious cars.
Yeah.
And once guys get DE4, like they're all just racing each other. They're racing without being in a race.
Right.
So DE4 just turns into a bloodbath.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Like
guys
a-
will
like a
just
grudge
hang out
match.
in
Yeah.
DE3 because like it's still a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
You know, you're not pushing it that. Like you're out there to have fun.
Yeah.
Everyone in DE4, like we're racing.
Yeah.
And like that's just kind of the way everybody is in that. And, like,
Yeah.
we're racing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you say like do you prefer to like kind of not be in DE4? You said like
I mean, I haven't made it that far.
okay.
I made it.
Yeah.
I'm in the advanced run of DE2.
Yeah.
I haven't done many track days
Mhm.
for it. I've done like probably 6 total. I've made it there pretty quickly, but it's
Yeah.
you know I'll get to DE3 and I'll probably want to go further.
Yeah.
My issue, which is kind of what has become my problem with it, and which is a lot of it why I want to back out of it a lot because like I was driving my boss's race car.
Right.
It's a prepped car. It's good to go. People drive it. His dad drives it. You know, whatever. He goes out. He drives it. He drives it at 5/10. You know, he's not pushing the car that hard. He's out. He's having a good time.
Yeah.
I go out. If I have an open track and there's nobody in front of me, I'm going to drive. You know, I'm going to drive my line. I'm going to go. I'm going to have fun.
Yeah.
There's a car in front of me. I'm going to pass you.
Yeah.
I'm getting in front of you.
Yeah. Like you can't not pass
And
somebody.
I have a really, really hard time of not pushing it that hard.
Yeah.
And that was what induced the crash.
Yeah.
Is, you know, it's like 3 laps in. It was early in the day.
Yeah.
And like the tires are still cold.
Yeah.
And they were a set of spent slicks. Like I should have known better. And there was an E46 M3 in front of me, probably up 100 horsepower, had good aero on it. Like it was a fast car.
Yeah.
But I was putting a little bit of I was sucking in on him a bit. And I'm like, I can fucking get around this guy.
Yeah.
And that was all I was worried about. And I pushed too hard and lost it and fucking crashed the car.
Yeah.
And then that's
Yeah, and so now that's like, you know, like from us, like our like most of our background, you know, like at least like me with being on like Club Loose and stuff. So like, I've never heard of anyone having to like pay for the track, which like again like it makes total sense, you know. But at the same time, like I think it might be because of like yeah, everyone's having fun, but like there's like a huge competition that's like behind us as well. Do you think like because I don't understand, like I know that it's expensive and I know that it's like a waste of track time, but it's like at the same time it's crazy they had made you for like whatever amount it was, but like to have to pay for the track after like, and was it just a couple tires, right?
it was tire barriers.
Yeah.
It was the Watts tires on the side of
Yeah.
the track. And I mean, Club Loose is its own entity.
Right.
Like they're their own thing.
Yeah.
And
And I probably like drifting in general. I think like drifting in general, and especially because it's something that's like it's trying to like take off. Like
Yeah.
they don't really have the.
they play by their own rules.
Yeah, but they probably also don't really have like the authority to be like, yeah, you got to pay for all this like this grass, or like you fucked up like this corner of the barrier. You have to pay for this. Like they wouldn't do that, I don't think. And I think it was like because like you know, I don't know, but like for the grip racing, it has such a like a background and such a like I don't know what's it, like a history, or like there's such a good standing with the culture of it, where it's like if they make somebody pay for something, like it's not going to deter someone from racing anymore. You
Yeah.
know, where like if you hear they're like yeah, my buddy went out to East Coast Bash and like fucked up this wall and made him pay $1,000 to fix it. You know, they'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm never going.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but like then the people who are there doing like a NASA event or like the CCA, I think, you know, kind of what we talked about off the podcast is like it took a lot of money to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're like, you know, if you're like, yeah, they hit me with $1,000 to like fix these
Yeah.
tires. You're like, yeah, whatever the
Yeah.
fuck.
I mean,
you
there's
know? But it's not something that like most people I don't think about when, and like, I mean, I know like you were saying that there are like some grassroots guys that are out there, but like I wonder if they think about like, bro, do I have like $2,000 or like $5,000 to like fix?
I don't know if it would get to that point.
You don't think so? No.
No. The most expensive thing you can do really is let fluids out.
Right.
Which for the racers, you're not allowed to have coolant in the car.
Yeah.
It's water. So that eliminates that burden. You let a bunch of coolant out, it's just water.
Yeah.
You let oil out, that shuts the track down. And dude, like you hit oil, like it's ice.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people don't understand. Like, oh, like you see a stain or you go around it. You don't. You come around a corner and there's oil on the track. You don't see it. You don't notice it. That's not what you're looking for. You're not scouring the track. Your brain can only focus on so many things at once.
Yeah, and I feel like even if you were like staring at it for like 5 seconds as you came up, like there is only so much you can do. Like, there's only so much you can deviate from the line that you've already chosen to take. Yeah.
There could be cars around you.
Right.
There could be anything. You could be too hot. You know, I got to come in track a little more. I'm bombing. I can't brake enough.
Yeah.
So
what would happen if like you hit someone else's car?
For driver's school, I don't know exactly.
Okay.
The goal of driver's school, though, I don't think they get involved in it.
Okay.
So if you're doing any of the DE run groups, if I hit somebody, the goal is there's no open passing. So if I'm coming up behind somebody, you're supposed to stay behind them at a reasonable distance. And I've gotten yelled at a couple times by different instructors for following too close when I'm trying to make a pass. But I've always been driving a lower horsepower car. I'm out there and they're Mustang GTs.
Yeah.
Corvettes, stuff like that. Like high horsepower cars. I have 250 horsepower. It's a prepped race car, but I don't have the power. I'm all over you in the corners, but then it gets to a straightaway, and they tell you when you let somebody pass, you give them a point by. You point out the window where you want them to pass you. You point this way, you point over the roof.
Yeah.
That's them telling me, okay, you can pass me on the right.
Yeah.
But so I can do that. I can run up on a Corvette. They point me on the right. Okay, I'm passing you on the right, and I get off on the right. When someone's passing, you're supposed to let off power.
Yeah.
So that they can get around you.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys don't. They'll just maintain speed.
Yeah.
You're maintaining your speed. I'm giving it all it's got. Like, I don't have enough to get around. Just like, I need to be on them.
Yeah.
So that once I get that, like, I try to cook up, and I'm hoping they'll see me come up on them. So, like, once I get right on your bumper, I get the point by, and then I can go around you.
Yeah.
And then I at least have that momentum behind me.
Right.
But, like, if I just flew up and rear-ended somebody, you don't really see it. So, like, I don't know. I assume at that point...
Well, I guess, like, kind of what you were saying, and again, like, you don't really see it, and, like, we were kind of, like, spitballing, but, like, God forbid there was a time where, like, there's a car next to you, you're going around a turn, like, but you're saying that, like, you don't really get into those, like, competitive spats.
Yeah.
Where,
you're not supposed to be competitive.
Yeah.
Everybody gets competitive in their mind. I especially do.
Yeah.
Like, I go out, I'm like, that's a car in front of me, I'm going around
Yeah,
you.
fuck that guy.
Yeah. Like, you are my sworn enemy at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't know what would happen. Because it doesn't really happen, thankfully.
Yeah.
As far as racing, like when guys are racing, guys induce crashes all the time, and I don't really know.
At your own, it seems like at that point it's at your own risk.
Yeah, and a lot of it, like they review footage. All the cars have to have cameras in them.
Okay.
Which a lot of times you'll see 3 camera angles, and you're like, oh my god, it was totally his fault.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you watch, and you're like, oh, you did this.
Yeah. That's another thing. Like just talking about like barrier to entry. Like you have to have cameras in the car.
It's for racing. If you're doing like BMW club racing is. When I first got into it, I'm like, this is real. This is real racing. I'm coming from like Club Blues, First State Drift, like all the very like amateur, like rookie stuff.
Yeah.
I first got into it. I'm like, this is real racing. Like these guys are serious. Like they're real race cars. These guys are pros.
Yeah.
That is as entry level as it gets into the racing world. NASA, BMW Club, even a lot of SCCA stuff is like very, very grassroots stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's bottom of the run. The amount of money that gets thrown around of them is pretty comical.
Right. Like just like money like for fun.
Yeah.
It seems crazy.
Yeah. We say a lot is a lot of the guys that race like BMW Club, it's a bunch of rich dudes who don't like golf.
Yeah.
And like this is how they want to spend their money.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And it's not like we have pro drivers.
Yeah.
Like there are pro drivers that will show up to the race. You'll see a stacker in the pits.
Yeah.
With 6 factory race cars, GT3, GT4 cars, pulling them out, and you're like, this is
crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that race though, it's shops like mine. It's a shop, performance shop. They have an in-house car and the owner drives, and it's stuff like that. There's some big money guys, a lot of doctors, dentists.
Right. Yeah.
I'd be surprised if you saw a racer that was a plumber.
Yeah, which is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like we've always said that. Like we always joked. We're like, oh man, you see that big house? Like,
Yeah, he
like,
must be a fucking mechanic.
He must be a fucking mechanic.
Yeah.
Like, fuck no.
Yeah.
It sucks. But yeah, no, and then like that racing though, like it's hard to quantify, but it does seem. I don't know. I mean, I think because of how serious that like everyone does take it, and how much prep that you do need to do to a car, it seems like it's more expensive than drifting.
Yeah,
by
far.
Yeah,
by far.
Like drifting obviously is more wasteful. It seems like with the tires.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
yeah.
I always said, and I still argue that to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did years and years of drifting. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's the most wasteful form of motorsports.
Yeah.
And it's the worst. That's the hardest thing you can put a car through.
Yeah.
Like you can argue like drag racing, you blow your head gaskets if you had a good pass, but like that shit, you're planning for that.
Yeah.
But just like drifting a car, no matter what the engine is, you're running the thing hard. It's you're on rev limiter.
Yeah.
The car's sideways. It's got no airflow.
Yep.
It was put together by some dude in his backyard. Like the fucking poor car doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah.
And drifting's tough.
Yeah, and also I've heard a lot of people talk about, like because angle kits break a lot, even like really nice ones, because like you're taking something that like isn't like manufactured by, like, a brand that's got to make sure it doesn't break. Like of course like no one's making an angle kit and like they're like, well, if it breaks, like it's not that they don't care, but like when you're manufacturing a car, like you're gonna get sued. Like this is like there's
like you can't have a
the car
control arm or a tie rod and the shears,
right? Yeah,
which is like you get into the angle kits and like it's CNC machined aluminum. It's not gonna bend. It's
Yeah, exactly. And like so sometimes like they say like it's better for like that's one of the like selling points is that like these kits will like the angle kits, the tie rods, the lower control arms, they snap so that way like if you do hit something, it doesn't like stove in like the whole strut tower, or bend a rail, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've heard
like,
both sides of that though. Like when I first started looking at like our early days when we were all kids into drifting, I relied a lot on J-Tune.
Yeah.
Like I talked to those guys a lot because they just seemed like the knowledgeable guys at the time.
Yeah.
And the owner that I talked to, I'm like, like angle kits and like just like this, not even angle kits. Like none of us had angle kit money.
Right.
It was like the extended tie rods.
Yeah.
And the drop links
like
and all that. And he's like, dude, like
Yeah.
don't run any of this shit.
Yeah.
He's like, learn how to drive the car. He's like, you go to the track and you bump into something, you bend a tie rod, you can hammer it back straight.
Right.
Like a factory tie rod, you
Yeah.
could bend it enough, like you can get home on it, or like you can still drive the day.
Yeah.
He's like, any of the aftermarket stuff, it just breaks. And you're done. Like if
Yeah.
you don't have a spare,
That's
you're done.
true. Yeah.
Like I do see both sides of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because like if you go that far, it's like you've probably fucked up more stuff too. But, yeah. But also like even with like just the angle kits in general, because like you're putting like people I don't think they realize like how much force like by moving like the Ackerman angle and like extending like tie rods and then you were saying like the hardest part of like or like drifting itself is like it just is the worst thing you can do to a car.
It's just
so like
so
trying
punishing.
to like drag like something like a car sideways is putting like so much force on like a tie rod or all these other things that aren't really supposed to get that kind of force.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean, I would argue drifting's probably a little bit easier on suspension components than grip racing is.
Yeah, but I think
because like grip racing, like you're on like. I mean, I'm sure at a professional level, I don't know what FD guys are running for tires. They're probably running like a pretty aggressive slick.
Yeah.
But like road course racing, when you're coming into a brake zone on a slick,
yeah,
your organs rearrange themselves. Like
Yeah.
shit moves, and like the load you put on suspension
true.
is
Yeah.
honest. It's baffling. Like yes, drifting, slamming the car back and forth and stuff like that is punishing. But I would say road course is probably harder on suspension.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think I forget like I forget how they were explaining it, but it made sense at the time. But I think it was like I thought it was like something with like the rear suspension, like because like you're like the tire, like that force of the tire trying to go sideways.
Okay.
Where like you're taking instead of a wheel like tracking, and
Yeah.
like, and it just
It wants to go this way.
Yeah,
but
it
now
wants to
you're-
go that. And now
I mean,
you're forcing
I
it the
can kind of
wrong
get
way.
it. If the car's sideways, you're putting a load inward on the suspension, which
That's
it was
not-
never really designed to ever have
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I couldn't speak
Yeah.
confidently of how that would affect.
Yeah, me
things.
neither. But that's all. I know that I'd heard someone like make that argument, and I was like, damn, that kind of makes sense. What
Yeah,
they're talking
you know, a lot
about.
of people think about it like if you're drifting,
Yeah.
there's no grip.
Yeah.
Like you're just, the back's just skating around like it's on like
Yeah.
McDonald's trace, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing donuts in a parking lot and you're 110 horsepower
Yeah.
Miata, like yeah, sure, like
No
you just
grip.
want no grip.
Yeah.
But like once you get to, like once you put speed into it, like you want the grip.
Yep.
Like I
Yeah.
noticed just changing, an inch with tires.
Oh yeah.
Or 2 inches with tires.
Yeah.
Like holy shit! Like I have so much more grip. I can carry so much more speed.
Yeah.
Like it's very noticeable. And like people, like you just put bald tires on the back and like
Yeah.
go skate around. Like it's not really like
Yeah.
you need the grip. Like you
Yeah.
need to know where that ass is
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, dude. Now like there's companies that are making tires specifically for drifting. Like they're taking into consideration like what the tires need and how they should wear and like how they can stay gripped up. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy to go from like when you and I were like running around and we were just buy whatever you can, or for us realistically it was like whatever old tires we could find. You
Yeah.
know? But back then, for the people who were taking it seriously, they just had to like kind of figure out like what tire just happened to have like the right setup, just trial by
Yeah.
error. But like now, like there's like research and development behind it, which is kind of cool.
I mean, guys have
you
gotten
know?
really smart with it.
Yeah.
I found my sweet spot once I started kind of, I always argued no angle kits.
Yeah.
Learn how to drive the car before you go into all this. And then I was also a guy who jumped right into some horsepower.
Yeah.
I went right for the LS. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, we're doing this.
Yeah.
So once I kind of got, figured out and situated with that, I'm like, I need like
Yeah.
the getting used tires just didn't make sense
Yeah.
anymore. So I started buying Achilles,
Mm-hmm.
and that was right when Achilles like became like a sponsor for Formula Drift, and I think I got them for like $60 a tire,
Damn.
and I would just buy a bunch of new tires, and it was
Fuck,
awesome.
yeah.
You had grip, and I found my sweet spot. For me, it was 245s.
Yeah.
I like 245s on an 18-inch wheel.
Yeah.
And a lot of the wheels I had were 17, so I'd run 245s on a 17, but you could feel
Yeah.
that little bit more movement with the sidewall, because I'd run a bigger sidewall on them to keep
Yeah.
the car kind of straight.
Yeah.
I swear I could feel it. I like the 18s. Like the 18s
Yeah.
were perfect on a 245/40,
Yeah.
and the car just felt right.
Smaller profile for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like and you didn't just go like right from, a 240, like stock 240 to an LS3, but because you had an SR20 and like that actually kind of made some jam, didn't it? It was a big single.
That was the like go-to what all the guys were doing with SRs.
Yeah.
I bought it off of a dude. I had the KA for a while. Tried drifting it here and there. Like this was like I was 16.
Yeah,
like
it
that was my
was
first
dumbass.
car. And like tried throwing it around and like didn't have a working handbrake. It was a really really tired KA. Like it was doing its best, and like I didn't know how to drive.
Yeah.
So then at that point, I think somebody rear-ended me, fucked the whole back of the car up,
Oh shit.
and I got like a $2,500 insurance check to fix the car.
Let's go.
So I'm like,
Dude, when you're 16,
I'm getting an
you're like,
SR20.
bro,
I was a millionaire. I'm like, I have
Fuck yeah.
$2,000. I'm off.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
And
I don't have to work. Like, this
Yeah,
is
like
great.
I was just going to
Set
retire
for
at that
life.
point. And back then, I mean, times have like drastically changed. But like you go to JDM Engine Depot, and Nick had already had his CA car, and whatever. I think he paid $1,500-$1,800 for the
Yeah.
CA, put it in. He wanted to do a CA because it was different, and then it just like didn't really work.
Yeah, they are an abomination.
Yeah, that's a horrible engine.
Yeah.
Credit where credit's due. He was the only guy like in Delaware that had that engine,
Yeah.
and sorry,
Yeah.
but yeah, it didn't work well.
Yeah. No.
So I was like, all right, I'm just going to take the ladder. I'm going to go for the SR. But I didn't want to just do it like a stock SR. I think at the time was around $2,000.
Yeah.
scoured Craigslist at the time because,
Yeah.
Craigslist, that was it.
Yeah.
And found this guy who's selling it. I think he wanted like $2,200. It was an SR20, S14, engine, transmission, drive shaft, and had everything you wanted. Had big injectors, had a Power FC,
Fuck yeah.
Disco
Let's
Potato,
go.
like all the goodies.
Yeah,
like
that's right. It was
everything you want.
Disco
Had a-
Potato,
Yeah,
which is
it
like
was
still,
Disco
it's a
Potato.
decent turbo for a stock because it was like stock internals, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
as far as I knew, it was a stock bottom end.
Yeah.
The guy said it was a stock bottom, which if they say it's a stock bottom end, it's a stock bottom. If they say
Yeah.
it's a built bottom end, it's a stock bottom end.
So either way, it's always
it's
stock.
always stock. But I got that and I slapped it in, and I had a lot of. It didn't run right. It had a bad
Oh.
ignition coil.
Yeah.
That it ran fine, but as soon as you really loaded it up, it would miss, and I could not figure it out. I didn't have the know-how.
Yeah.
You couldn't talk to the cars. It was a Power FC.
Yeah.
Or if you could, I didn't know how to do it. I was 17 years old. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have no clue what's wrong with
Yeah.
it. And Eric
Yeah.
ended up giving me, he was like, oh, like maybe it's your coils. And he gave me a set of coils. We helped him SR swap one of his hatches.
Yeah.
And he gave me a set of coils, and I slapped them in, and the car ran like a top. And then I just had, and like the guy told me, he's like, oh, it made like 370 horsepower before I pulled it. It didn't.
Yeah.
It was probably around the 300 mark, like very high twos, very low threes. I would say it was around there.
Yeah.
But I had that, and I had it on stock suspension, so it was just
A fucking boat.
yeah. It was like putting a saddle on a cow. You were going for a ride. You were going there, but you were going for a ride.
Oh fuck, dude! And like, it's so crazy. Like when I look back at my car, I really wish I had never sold it. And I was just talking to Julian about this at the track. I did just like I kind of threw my hands up. When I was drifting, just I would just throw so much money into it, and it was just the only thing that I cared about. And then, things would backfire as usual. And then like you just kind of wasted a lot of money. And then, then when you weren't at the track after the high was gone, it was like, yeah, I don't have any money now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm
I have
kind of
no money,
fucked.
And there's another track event in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So now I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
We didn't have any money.
Right.
We were all like, half of us were in school,
Yeah.
working bullshit jobs.
Yeah.
We had these piles of garbage cars
Yeah.
that we were like just patching together, and like
Yeah.
all. That was the simplest part of my life, though.
Yeah, I know.
The only goal.
Yeah.
I go to work. I go home. Eat ramen noodles.
Yep.
I'm going to Club Loose this weekend.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And, like we went to Club Loose, and the car's always broke,
Yes.
but it was fine.
Yeah.
We were happy.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I did pretty good. I had a lot of I'm sure you remember like the exhaust manifold stuff on my SR. Like,
Yeah. The
manifold
turbos
coming
fall off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
had that a couple times.
Yeah.
They do that.
And then I remember when I wrecked the S13 and I put it into the S14, I bought an eBay manifold that looks super cool. Got rid of the log manifold
Yeah.
because those are gay.
Yeah.
And
And then that broke.
then
Yeah.
like literally like one of the last laps I did at First State Drift in Dover, which I drove to, the manifold cracked.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I
Well,
drove.
it was you started with, so like I had on my SR, my turbo fell off a
Yeah.
couple times. And it got to the point, like if the turbo fell off, we put, like it would just unthread the bolts. Or like it would stretch them and the bolts would walk off.
Yeah.
So we'd bolt it back on and then it would fall off again.
Yeah.
So it got to the point I would bolt it on, I would weld it. And like then we welded the nuts. So like
Yeah.
the nuts couldn't move.
Yeah.
And like that was okay for me. I thought for your car, you welded the nuts and then that failed. And then you ended up welding the turbo to the manifold and then it just ripped the whole manifold off the fucking.
Yeah, I think once we swapped it over, I think that's when Nick welded it to the manifold. But then
Yeah.
that fucking manifold
And then it just
snapped,
ripped the manifold.
dude.
Like the turbos
fucking-
don't want to be on there.
Yeah, yeah. But what was even worse is that we drove there and I was with Nick, and so like the whole time and like
You had to drive the car
dude,
back.
yeah,
That was the most fun.
yeah, and I like pretty sure I got like carbon monoxide poisoning. Like it was summer and we had the windows down, like the sunroof open, and we were just driving as fast as we could to get the fuck home.
Yeah.
And like Nick had a big sun hat that he's like trying to get like the sun like through the sunroof to like get air to come
Yeah.
in. It was so bad.
Yeah. I
But-
actually got carbon monoxide
Yeah, I
poisoning
was gonna
from
say,
that.
you have a good story
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
So this was your
That was my S14
SR.
when I had the SR in it.
yeah.
So I got the insurance check. I got
the insurance check.
Yeah,
back to Rich John.
I got like $2,000 from the insurance company, and I'm like, I could spit in your face. I got so much money. So I buy this SR for $2,000.
Yeah.
And now it has to go into the car. So every other bit and piece I bought was like the eBay special.
Oh, yeah.
Like any of the cheapest garbage. The exhaust I got, I think it was like $85 for like a full turbo back exhaust.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was tinfoil. It was the worst material ever. So it would always break on the turbo elbow.
Yeah.
And it would just rip off, and Nick would weld it back together.
Yeah.
And it would rip off again, and then we weld it back together. And we were going to Philly, so got this little side hustle going for a while. We would go to the junkyard, and they had a bunch of BMWs at the junkyard.
Yeah.
So I would take the junkyard slip that had all the prices for all the BMW parts, and I'd just put an ad on Craigslist that says, like, I have every BMW you want. So people would hit me up.
Oh, shit.
And it'd be like, hey, do you have this part? Yep, I got it. I'd look at the junkyard slip. Whatever that price was, I would quadruple it. I would go to the junkyard, and then I would just steal it from the junkyard. And then go meet up with these sketchy dudes off Craigslist and just sell them these parts. And, like, that's what I did. So I was driving to Philly, and the turbo fell off. And I finally got to the point, I'm like, fuck it, whatever. Like, the turbo's just going to be off of it for right now.
Yeah.
Get back. Nick had his E36 at the time.
Yeah.
And it was a drift night. This is when we really first started getting into street drifting. Went out. It was a couple of the guys. We're all drifting around, having a good time. It was like cold. It might have been dead of winter. It was cold.
Yeah.
I remember having to have heat on.
Yeah.
And I had been driving the car all day, so like I was getting a lot of fumes in the car. Like my eyes are watering. I can't really see. So I had the driver's window up because it was so cold.
Yeah.
I had all the vents heating on blast, like pointing out, and then the passenger window down. Like in my mind, I'm like, just get all the fumes because the turbo is directly on the other side of the firewall, which I had drilled countless holes in for just whatever things you do.
Random shit.
Yeah, just stuff.
Yeah.
Drive around all night. Nick ends up hitting a curb or something.
Yeah.
Waffles a control arm. We go back to his place, jack the car up. I think we ripped the arm out, like welded a botched arm back together. We go back out. Driving around again, he smacks into another curb. And I'm like, all right, like, let's call it a night. I'm dying. Like, I think I might actually be dying.
Yeah.
Let's call it a night. He's like, no, like, let's fix it. Like, I can fix it. Or I think he bent a wheel that time. He might have just destroyed, like, a steely or
Let's
something.
go swap it.
Yeah, he's like, let's go swap the wheel. Let's go back out. We're like 20 minutes and we'll go back. I'm like, fine. I get in his car. I'm like, I can't drive my car anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna pass out. So I get in his car, go out, and it was like the first corner. He just buries this thing up the curb. I forget what he did. He like snapped a strut or something. Like the car was gridlocked. It was gone. It was not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so that was that. And he's like, okay, like, I'll call a flatbed.
Yeah.
It's probably 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So we call a flatbed. They're like, yeah, we're on the way. We go to sleep. We just sleep in the car for a couple hours. We wake up to some big fat dude going, you're fucked.
Oh, no.
And it's a guy looking outside. He goes, this thing's too, because his E36 was like an inch off the ground.
Oh, yeah. The silver
he's
one,
like,
I remember.
Yeah, he's like,
Such
I
a
can't
sick
put this
car.
on my flatbed. And he's like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't care.
Yeah.
Drag it up the bed.
Yeah.
Like, just put it on your truck.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't. I'm going to damage your car. He goes, the left front wheel's ripped off the car. Just put it on the bed.
Yeah, whatever you do, we're not going to notice.
Then he's like, nope, can't do it. So he leaves. Call another flatbed. They finally get there. The dude gets there, and he's like, dude, I'm not putting this on my truck. Nick gets out of the car, and he just judo kicks the front, caves the front fender, and he goes, I don't give a fuck. Put it on the truck. And the guy goes, okay, I'll put it on the truck. Drags it up the truck. We go back to Nick's house. I pass out. We get up the next morning, and like the last thing I remember, like I was walking up the steps. And I think I kind of like fell when I got up to the top of the steps.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I'm in the medical aid unit.
Oh, shit.
And they're like frantic and running all around. My mom's there. I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
And then I'm in the back of an ambulance. And I'm in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
Your carbon monoxide levels are like, 10. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means. Like, well, like when it gets to 6, you die. And I'm like, so like, am I gonna die? Like, they're like, why are your levels so high? Like, they're trying to figure out like what's going on, because like I guess they thought like something was wrong with Nick's house and like something's leaking or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like I smoke cigarettes, and they're like, no, that's not.
Yeah.
It. And I'm like, well, the exhaust fell off my car, and they're like, okay, but like that wouldn't really do it. I'm like, it fell off, and all the exhaust fumes are going inside the cabin. I drove it like that for like 3 days, and they're like, "Are you fucking kidding me, kid?"
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I know, because at the time, like, you know, if you're just a kid, like, you're like, yeah, you get used to it. You're like, dude,
Yeah,
cars,
you're like, oh,
exhaust.
my
like, I like
my
it.
eyes hurt.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, my eyes hurt. I
Yeah,
mean,
like I can't really see. I'm like,
yeah, just bloodshot.
Okay. Yeah. Like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm a little lightheaded. But yeah, I'm good. I was in the hospital for a week.
Bro.
Yeah, I was fucked up, man.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It was bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you heard it here first, PSA.
Yeah.
Public
put
service
your fucking
announcement.
exhaust on.
Yeah. Exhaust fumes can hurt you.
Can I take a piss?
Yeah, let's go pee. The Goodwood series, which Adrian is a gigantic fan of, and so am I. So you were just mentioning that, like, it's this dude's driveway, and I'm pretty sure, like, it's probably not true, but I like the idea of this rich guy, you know, and like imagine like all of the rich guys in all of the world, and how many of them are actually into cars. There's not that many, right? But then like you get a couple people who are like come down their driveway and they're like, man, your driveway is like intense. This is a long time to get up here.
I had a fucking fun time bombing down your driveway.
Yeah. And they're like yeah, I burned down that driveway. Like I mean,
I bet I can do it faster.
Car. I bet I could do it faster. Yeah. And like a couple glasses of whiskey in, and they're like, where are my keys?
Like,
like,
dude, it's a private driveway. You just drive drunk down it, have a good time.
Yeah. So I think that's that part of Goodwood is the hill climb. So, which I think Adrian actually had mentioned that he wasn't as big of a fan of the hill climb, but the hill climb is cool. But the Goodwood that like this is like their like little speedway thing. But like, and I'll just like kind of pan back, but like this is just the fucking the coolest shit of old.
This is old school racing. Like, dude, this is what it was.
Yeah.
And I love this shit because you got the Mini Coopers, and the Mini Coopers were so dominant.
Yeah.
But then you got these monster, like, everyone loved the Galaxies. I don't know exactly why people love the Galaxies, but I think they just worked as like a road race car. But you'd have a Mini and a Galaxy just rubbing doors.
Yeah.
Going through, and it was just awesome to watch. I love both sides of it because, like, I love the mix of cars that you see racing. Like, I like seeing a lot of different cars, and you see where certain cars have their strong suit.
Oh yeah.
Like, this car is best down the straightaway, or this car is best in the corners. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like seeing that little battle, but then that gets to a point that like you watch spec racing.
Right, and that's like the opposite end. So, because like what Adrian and I were talking about was that like we rather would see like the competition be between like two cars rather than like it be between like two drivers. So like because we were trying to figure out like who was driving this one Galaxy, because there's a video of a Galaxy in one of those Goodwood races on the circuit, and it's just barreling through like all the grass to get past all these like little Mini Coopers where like, clearly he just got like so pissed and he's like, I'm getting fucking around these guys.
I'm going around you,
yeah. And so as it turns out, there's a ton of drivers for that same car, and like that happens all the time in like Le Mans and stuff, and like, but like Le Mans the same way, where it's like it's a battle of the car, because it's not just the driver. You have like multiple drivers, you know. And I think those are like more interesting because like to us as like actual car enthusiasts and like we like cars, we want to see like what's the best machine that you can make. Yeah. Because like even in like with NASCAR and Formula One, which are the greatest examples of like successful racing, like large, televised multi-billion-dollar corporations, like they've taken the model, which I kind of like use as an example of like the NFL, where like you're buying a shirt with Kimi Räikkönen or Lewis Hamilton, like that's how you sell. You're here to watch your driver. Yeah. And the same thing with NASCAR, like we want to see Tony Stewart or Joey Logano, like that's your person. And like that's what drives people like with fans, like even if you know nothing about cars, like you can just go out and like,
that's
buy a
my
shirt.
Boy. Yeah, that's my boy. That's who I'm watching.
Yeah. And like the same thing with hockey or all the like, NFL, like you don't have to know anything about it, but you can buy the jersey, you can go. And like that's how you sell, because even people who aren't really that interested show up. But like for this kind of stuff, and like, you know, even GT racing, which is heavily limited, you know, you still get there's not really much like fan support when like there really is. It's about the car that they made,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not so much about like. It's not so much about the driver, you know, because like those things are cool. You know, who the best driver is awesome, but like it's cool to see someone.
It's
make
an
a
all
cool
around
car.
thing. Like we do a lot of endurance racing too. Like I do a lot of support for AER racing.
Okay.
Which is it's kind of the same thing like NASA level, and like BMW Club. Like it's pretty entry level racing. It's just it's American endurance racing. You go in and you race, and they do everything from 8-hour races to 24-hour races. And it really, really changes the way racing is. Like anybody can put a car together. They can go do a 30-minute race.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people struggle for that. We get a lot, like we do like BMW Club races or 30, 40-minute races.
Yeah.
A lot of cars break down.
Right.
A lot of cars can't make it. It's too much for them.
Yeah. Yeah, see, and I like that. I like that like the sport stays about the car that you made.
Yeah,
and like
it's
of course
gotta
you
stay
have
together.
to. Yeah, and you have to be a good driver, which is like kind of what
Yeah.
you're getting to. But like at the same time, it's like yeah, but the car matters so much. And you
Yes.
get to like NASCAR, where like yeah, you do have that, where like everyone has to like you know Toyota and Ford and Chevy, they all have to make their own engines. They have to be the exact same, you know, and there's only so much variance that you can have. But like it just levels the playing field so much where the racing just becomes boring to watch. You're
Yeah.
not seeing crazy like takeover, like a pass.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you get into like AER racing, and a lot of that becomes guys. It's a 50-50 split of guys try to be a lot safer of drivers because they realize they're in it for the long haul. I've done track support or like pit crew, whatever you want to call it, for a lot of AER races. And, you know, the shortest race I did was 8 hours. The longest I did was like 12, 14-hour races. Which I can say sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting in the pits the whole time. If you're in the pits, you're in a fire suit. And if you're over the wall, you're in a helmet, shield down. But you're only over the wall if something goes wrong with the car. But, like, I've always gone in as, like, I was, like, the mechanic.
Yeah.
It's a team effort when the car comes into the pits, and you need to put fuel in it. You need to. You're racing. You're not checking tire pressures. You're not changing tires. You go out with one set of tires that will make it the whole. You're running like 200 treadwear tires. But you know, if something goes wrong, you got to go. Like the last race I did, the car laid down, lost like the guys, and like the crew we had, like the race team that I was working for. We're very fast drivers.
Yeah.
We started out as a Class 2, and they immediately bumped us out of Class 2. Because like the car was a Class 2 car.
Yeah.
Immediately bumped us out of Class 2 because the guys were just too fast.
No way. Damn, man,
so-
this one's going on at night. Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, they do like Dance with the Devil. That's a 24-hour race they do in Jersey.
Yeah, this one says New Jersey's hardest race, the American Endurance Racing.
Yeah,
14
that's
hours.
14 hours NJMP.
Yeah.
I want to do Lemons really bad.
Yeah, that's
a lot of things.
Yeah.
Or that's a lot of fighting that I'm trying to get through with some friends and put a car together and do it. I want to go, but so Lemons for a lot of people, Lemons is a joke in like the racing community. Like nobody takes it seriously, but a lot of people take it seriously. I want to go into it, and I want to go for oh yeah, you get ridiculous stuff like that, like the upside down Camaro.
Yeah.
I want to go in, and I want to go for an overall win.
The fish, bro, the bass.
So you get a lot of points for decorating the car.
Yeah.
And
there's what's the fucking...
I don't know, it might be a UFO or something.
Yeah, I think it's from Star Wars. I think it's that, like, the
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Fucking this thing.
So I want to do, is that a Gremlin?
Yeah, with like a truck front end.
I like it.
Crazy.
Gremlin with a C10 front end. That's
yeah.
a 2000 S13 in the background.
Oh, shit.
Go back to that. Bullshit. I'm calling bull. You did not get that car for $500.
Yeah, right. Yeah, dude, that thing's fucking 10
So
grand
that's
all
the
day.
thing with lemons is you have a $500 limit, which is not realistic.
Yeah.
They still have not updated it for inflation because nobody's getting a car. You're not getting a running driving car that could do a quarter mile for $500.
For $500. Yeah.
A lot of things are unlimited, like safety features, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There were talks about doing a lemons race for George's bachelor party.
Oh, sick.
Because George is very big. So George does exactly what I do.
Yeah.
But he does it with Porsches.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, and NJMP is 2 tracks. It's 2 main tracks. So anytime I'm at the racetrack with BMW Club, he's usually on the other side of the track with Porsche Club.
Oh, shit.
So it's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you can just meet up and
Yeah.
like talk or anything.
Yeah.
So there were talks about doing it because, you know, in everyone's mind, they're like, oh, it's $500. So like, you know, $1,500.
I'm there.
You're there.
Yeah.
I budgeted it out for like me and a couple able-bodied people as myself. Like we're gonna prep the car. You know, people who have the know-how to do it.
Right.
And you got to assemble a team of drivers. I want
Yeah.
people who have track experience.
Right.
I would want to drive. I'd have someone like George drive.
Yeah.
He's got track experience.
Yeah.
He has know-how. He knows how to set a car up. He knows when something's wrong with a car, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Would, on the absolute cheapest side, you need to be ready to spend 10 grand.
Yeah.
A lot of that
That
isn't-
shit's like so crazy. It's why
They
like,
say
like
$500.
drifting's expensive, but like that's insane.
But that's also a 24-hour race.
Yeah.
Like that's like hoping a car is going to make it 24 hours.
Yeah.
You're buying the car. You go buy the car for $500.
Yeah.
Then you got to put a cage in it. You take a car pretty much anywhere. Julian got a very nice cage put in his Z. Like it's a beautiful
For
job.
Like 34 painted. I
Yeah,
think.
painted. Like
Yeah.
it's a very nice job. Realistically, if I were to do it, honestly, at that point, I wouldn't even like. I would put the cage in myself. I'm a competent enough welder at this point that I would weld a cage into my own car
Yeah.
and feel comfortable with it.
Just not bend it.
For 30,
Not bending it
Oh
yourself.
no, I'm not bending shit. It'll be
that
it'll be
shit.
90-degree angles. But dude, for $3,500, like you're gonna spend $800,000 on material,
Yeah.
and then do it.
Yeah.
I will gladly pay the $2 grand to have somebody else do it.
Bend it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy a kit that you just have to weld in yourself.
Yeah. Well, like I mean, like if you buy a
That's
like
what-
a pre-bent cage, like
Right.
multiple
Yeah. And that's what like
cage.
most people like when you go to like have them put a cage in, they're gonna do that just because
Yeah.
honestly they can't spend that much time bending it for it
Yeah.
unless you need something specific. Which
Yeah.
like maybe they'll be like, you know, like maybe they'll buy
I think
it.
Julian's cage is hand bent.
Really?
I think he bent it all himself.
Yeah.
Because I convinced him to punch the door
Yeah.
bars out into the door
Yeah.
and gut the door because he's a big boy.
He's a big fella.
And then he did it, and he's like, I explained it to him, and he's like, I don't even know, like why, like no, like I'm just gonna do doors, and like
Yeah.
I'll take the door panel off. I'm like, dude, bump the door out, and he bumped out. He's like, I am so glad that you told me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that the guy who did his cage did it from scratch.
Yeah.
And the dude who does, he's in like Newport, Delaware.
Yeah, I know. I wish I remembered his name too because he does like a lot of FD cages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
he's
think
really
Julian's
big.
cage is FD spec.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that he told Julian, which I fully believe, because like $3,500 for a cage is it painted is insanely cheap.
Yeah.
Like I think the last cage we had done on a race car was like $6 grand.
Yeah. Yep.
Unpainted. Like fuck you, you figure it out. You get it, it's all rusty, and you're like, great. Like now I got to clean this up.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he told Julian that he was like, I lose money on cages, but like it gets guys in the door.
Right.
And like I think the two of them had like a good relationship, and like,
Yeah. And I think like I don't know if that guy's got people working for him, but
I think it's just one dude.
Yeah, which I think that's how like you're able to lose money. You know? Because he's losing money on his time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not like going out of his pocket, like because like generally speaking, like they're gonna just charge you for the piping and then like hit you with like a flat bill for material they use to make it happen. You know, paint included. But on the labor side, you know, he's just not jacking up labor to like $6 grand.
Yeah.
You know, he's just being like, look.
He's being
You
reasonable
paid-
with them.
yeah,
and
you
that's
paid-
that's what he said his whole thing was,
Yeah.
is he gets you in the door, you do the cage, and like I think Julian goes and gets his alignments done there too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is a big thing that a lot of guys do not understand.
Yeah.
You're going on a track, you're not taking your car to NTB to get an
Nope.
alignment done. You're not going to
Yeah.
Pep Boys and getting an alignment
Yeah.
done. If you are, the car's not going to go down the track right.
yeah.
You know, you got to get a proper alignment done.
Yeah. From somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yes.
And knows
and
what
there
you're
are
doing.
so many different setups. We have customers that come in. We align their cars every single time they go to a track.
Yeah.
They go to different tracks. We have alignment specs for cars for different tracks. You're
Damn.
going to Watkins Glen, you get this alignment. You're going
Yeah.
to JMP, you get this alignment. You're going to Summit Point, you get this alignment.
Damn.
Different corners, you put more camber here, you
Yeah.
put more camber there.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of playing around with things to make a car function right. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things people don't really understand.
Yeah. Yeah. How much does does ride height ever play an effect in that? Like, you guys ever raising or like lowering cars?
Not
like,
for the
specific-
most part. So the big thing with ride height is I want, and I've been fighting with my boss about this with his car. So I want to fight with ride height more than most people do. So the idea with ride height plays a big role because ride height affects your corner balance. That you effectively, like, so you say a car is balanced. You balance a car by adjusting ride heights and by
Yeah.
tipping the car around and evening out on, all you're really worried about is your cross balance. So that is affected by minor adjustments on ride height, which you
Yeah.
set a base ride height before that.
Yeah.
You normally set your base ride height to the point you want all of your suspension components to be you want them to droop a bit so that when you hit a bump, you know, it's not, you don't want to slam the car so your control arms are like this.
Yeah.
Because, and a lot of it also depends on what kind of suspension you have. An E36,
Yeah.
horrible suspension.
Yeah.
It's junk. It's
Yeah.
McPherson. It's horrible. You want like double wishbone, like that's good shit.
Yeah. So
But-
I guess like arguably would be like the idea is like to trying to get
You want to
your
be like right
suspension-
before, like we set the cars up mostly. We go a little bit lower than like what would be recommended. Like you always want a little bit of droop. We do pretty much level with control arms. Is where we go. But I really want to, and it's such a hard thing to pinpoint and to say if you're making an advance or if you're
Yeah.
going negative. I want to slam the shit out of the cars.
Yeah.
So like my boss's car, the class that he races in is a pretty tight spec class. So he can't have, you know, big lips, big splitters, big diffusers, anything like that. So the way the car's set up, it's got a lot of ground clearance. Like it looks like a normal M3 on lowering springs.
Yeah.
Like it's not like scraping the ground.
Yeah.
The suspension's set up correctly. I want to take that and drop it like 2 inches lower. You're now effectively moving all of these suspension components outside of their working tolerances.
Yeah.
But you're also lowering the center of gravity of the car.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see, effectively you're going negative. You're not making improvements. But there's a lot of people that run the cars super low.
Yeah.
And that's the way they like them. And you're looking at it, you're like, oh, well, like your suspension's not working.
Right.
But you're gaining that lower center of
Yeah.
gravity. And I would like it's really hard to do that and to say if you're
Yeah. It's hard to gauge
need
if you're
such
making
a
a difference.
he drives all day long.
Yeah.
He'll drive 100 laps throughout the day.
Yeah.
Lap times will be all over the place. He's a consistent driver. You know, he'll be a second slower, a second faster.
Yeah.
That's what you're chasing.
Right.
You know, it's not like, oh, I did this. I gained 5 seconds. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You do a good improvement. You gain a half a second consecutively
Yeah.
on a lap, or consistently, on a lap.
That's something to be like, oh shit, like I'm gonna
Yeah.
write that down.
But there's so many variables.
Yeah.
And like tires, there's variables. Track temperature, there's variables.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
In the traffic, there's variables, and it's
Yeah.
so hard to pinpoint that. But like, I really want to push them outside of their comfort zone of where the suspension should work, and just see how much lowering the center of gravity can give you.
Yeah.
I think there could be gains there.
Yeah, and like what you'd be sacrificing, kind of what you were saying is that like, you know, if the control arms are all like flat centered with the wheel, it's essentially in theory giving that whatever that arm is able to like move one way or the other, it's in the middle. You know, so that like what you were saying, when it hits a bump, it can go equal way this way and that
Yeah.
way without like if it was like super low, it's already kind of more to one side. And so it has tons of travel this way, but not as much travel that way, which can kind of change a lot of this stuff. Is that kind of the idea?
More or less,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, you get to a point like the suspension gets so tight it doesn't move that much.
Yeah. So like the travel doesn't
but
play as much
it's-
of a part.
For the most part, suspension, depending on setup, like on like an E36, it's linear to its flat point.
Yeah.
So like when it moves up, once it hits the flat, then it starts moving in and things start really changing. So like you want to keep it below that flat. That's what everyone tells you. You want to keep it below the flat. Like, well, what if we put it past the flat? Once you pass that flat zone, then it's linear again.
Yeah.
So if you can figure it out from that point,
yeah,
what could you do?
Yeah.
And guys have tried it, and there's guys talking about it, and I'm sure.
But like you said, there's just so many variables. It's kind of anecdotal. Yeah.
It's hard, and stuff like that changes the car feel a lot. Like it changes the way, like when you throw the car into the corner, like, oh, it feels different, and it takes time to get used to it. And
and so it might not even be necessarily wrong. It's just something that like you're not.
It's
you
like
don't
that.
know.
Like that is stuff that you get into like levels of like professional race teams that can go out to a track and they can run the same car on the track all day long with different sets of tires. They can check every box of every variable that could possibly happen. They got guys with calculators sitting in the corner, telling you what everything's right, and like that's just not feasible for like the rookie level racing.
100%.
And
here, give me 1 second because this is making a bunch of noise. So we left off on alignments and changing things, but yeah, dude. Speaking of that, you've been working as a mechanic for this for your team for a while now, right? It's like, what does all that like entail?
It kind of depends on where I'm going, what I'm doing.
Yeah. That's still loud as hell.
I mean, I don't think it's that loud. I don't know
Yeah.
how much it's going to piss the mics off.
Yeah. It may or may not, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Fucking house, dude. Fucking bullshit. But yeah.
So it depends, like kind of what we're doing. On the light side, a lot of times I say, like, if I'm going to the track, you know, I get hired, various customers will hire me, and if it's a good day, I'm changing your tires, or I'll change your wheels in the pits.
Yeah.
I will check tire pressures when you're out doing, you know, qualifying, things like that. I take tire temperatures. You probe the tires, the parameters, you know, just kind of see where things are at. And that's that.
Yeah.
And we all go home and everybody smiles at the end of the day. I've had cars get totaled on track. I've had a car that got smacked so bad we had it was an E36, both front frame rails. We had hooked up to two trucks. And we
Oh shit.
We were spreading the car back apart. And found a ghetto welder in the pits and welded the front end back together and put some bits and pieces back on, and it was a whole lot of duct tape, and the car won its class the next day. It actually had an overall win the next day.
Oh shit.
So
that's wild. So what's the future usually for those kind of cars? Like how far will like you bubble gum a car together before you just kind of
you'll
call
do
it a
your
loss?
very best.
Yeah.
Because realistically, at the end of the day, it's a car with a cage.
Yeah.
And a proper cage. Right. And like we were saying
just like
earlier,
we were talking about.
Cages are expensive, and you get a proper cage. We've had them pretty bad.
Yeah.
The cage usually protects a car a lot into like that, you know, kind of center section area. Doesn't really get tore up. Strut towers get smashed and mangled and ripped off depending on your crash. But like, we'll put strut towers on them. We'll put frame rails in them. Yeah. You know, in the front section. Yeah. But you do everything you can to save the car. Yeah. You know, because it's got the cage in it. Because otherwise, then you have to go find a chassis. Yeah. You find a chassis. And it's a lot more than just like, oh, I got a car and it's got a cage welded in it. Mm-hmm. A lot of these cars, like, they have hours and hours and hours. My boss's car is stripped down to bare metal. There's not a single bit of sound deadening, of insulation, of any of the undercoating. All that's stripped down. It's painted nicely. Yeah. All of the body panels, all of the, like, there's layers to a unibody car. They're all stitch welded together.
That's what the next one was going to bring up. That's a big one with, like pro FD cars and shit like that. Like they stitch weld everything.
You see professional like race cars get sold, and they're like, you know,
$40,000.
$100,000 for this car, and they put up pictures and like entire chassis stitch welded together, and people were like, oh, whatever, like I could do that. No, you have no idea the amount of time. Like, yeah, anyway, like sure, you can weld, go for it.
Yeah.
Go strip all that metal off. And like,
Dude,
it's not even
all the
stripping it off,
undercoating.
it's peeling the pieces apart, getting the paint and the undercoating out from underneath of them.
Yeah.
It's thousands of hours.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot stress to you how much time it is to get all that out.
Yeah.
And put it back together. We only have, it's the former owner of the company's car was that way, and the present owner. Both of those cars are that way, and we don't have any other cars that way because nobody will pay for it.
Yeah.
Because it's too much.
Yeah.
If you own the business, yeah, sure, you stick a kid in the shop with a wire wheel and you're like, go to town.
Yeah.
But like, to take that to a shop and like to tell them you want that, I couldn't imagine what that bill would be.
Dude. Yeah.
Because it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's true. It does seem to be like one of those crazy, unattainable things. But I mean, I don't know. Like, how important do you think it is for, like, how many cars do you think that are in the same class that your boss runs that are stitch weld?
None.
Okay.
He's the only one.
Okay.
It's one of those things.
It's like, if you can do it, it's awesome. You know,
A lot of
for
this
the
stuff,
longevity.
A lot of the stuff race guys do is snake oil.
Yeah.
A lot of it is.
Yeah.
We had a guy, we had a customer bring his car in.
Yeah.
He drove out at Summit Point in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Awesome track. Very dangerous track, but like really, really cool track.
Yeah.
Drove the car all weekend, and he absolutely swept everybody in class. And he was just like, yeah, like, I just went out and I drove.
Yeah.
And we were like, dude, like he was like 3 seconds faster than
Oh,
everybody else.
shit.
And like, absolutely, like, nobody stood a chance.
Yeah.
And he's like, the car didn't feel all that right. Like, it was a little off all weekend, but like, see what you think.
Yeah.
Put the car up. The left rear wheel was going to fall off the car. The wheel bearing was so bad.
Bro.
And he demolished everything. Like, a lot of it is drivers.
Yeah.
And that's what you get into with these spec classes.
Yeah.
The cars are so equally matched. Guys cheat. It happens. But,
Sure.
you know, all cars are equally matched. If somebody can drive, they're going to drive it. And, like,
Yeah.
in his case, the wheel was pretty much coming off of the car.
Yeah. VIR you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Buckley.
Oh, no. VIR is, that's in West Virginia.
Yeah. What was
VIR is a pretty, Summit Point.
Summit Point in,
Yeah.
in Virginia. Gotcha.
Road Atlanta. My boss is going to Road Atlanta in November.
Yeah, that's got to be nuts.
And then Summit Point,
Yeah, Summit Point there.
that'd be cool. Summit Point's an awesome track.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous track because if you go off track, there's a very good chance you're going upside down. There's a lot of, it's really gritty on the outside. There's a lot of dips. And so, like, if you go off sideways, there's a good chance your wheels are going to catch on something and you're going to go upside down. I've
Fuck.
seen some pretty tragic crashes. Like, I've seen medivacs land mid-track and get guys out of there.
Oh,
And it's a
fuck.
very, very fast track.
Yeah.
So you get the front straight, you're going down
Yeah.
really, really quick. You go down through 1, 2, 3. That's like the middle straight. And then
Yeah.
you go back through the carousel, and you're just pretty much controlled understeering through there. Like, you're just
through 4, 5,
scrubbing.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like 5, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7.
Is you're just burying the front end, and you
Yeah.
smoke tires going through there.
Damn.
That's where a lot of the short wheelbase cars come into play. We had a
Yeah.
customer with an E92 M3 that, like, the car really shined on the straightaways because it had that, it had power, but the car was just too fat to get through the carousel.
Damn. Yeah, this is really cool. I would like to get into it, but just like you were saying, like, I mean, for like an entry level guy, which is like what Buckley is, he's just, he's a mechanic.
Yeah.
And
Mechanics, a lot of it though.
yeah, but I mean,
Like
he just
that-
shows up in his car and like just does these track days, and I don't think it's too much, but respectfully,
Yeah.
all respect to mechanics and to Buckley as well. Like, you can do it on a mechanic's salary, and
You
so
could.
he's able, and he's in the same thing. I think he's found a good, like, race life balance. I
Yeah.
think, but like I think he's doing like 4 or 5 a year.
That's great. Is
Yeah.
he racing or is he doing just DEA?
I think he's just hanging. I think, like,
Okay.
it's like him and his friend they like to go, and like you were saying, they race each other.
Yeah.
But like they're out there just
Dude,
having
I
fun.
say it. The first time I did DE, I was still drifting.
Yeah.
I was still going to Club Loose,
Yeah.
and immediately it turned the lights out on
Yeah.
drifting.
Yeah.
Because you got to do it.
Yeah.
I want everybody to. I tell Julian to do it. You should do it.
Yeah.
Julian's a great driver. He's a great drifter.
Yeah.
I want him to go, and I want him to go do a track day. And he could do it he could do it in a Z.
Yeah.
He'd pull the welded out and just put like a limited slip in and put a decent tire on it. And just go to there's a competitive, like if you're tandeming, I get it. Mm-hmm. There's somebody in front of you, like, I'm gonna get close to him.
Yeah.
But when there's a car in front of you and you're like, I'm going to go around you.
Yeah.
There's a primal thing.
Yeah,
like
no, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, because like drifting is not really like racing.
Yeah.
So, and like now it's kind of interesting with these like the competitions events, especially like the gamblers, all this like grass, all the grassroots stuff, which like that's cool and like you can win some money. But like all of that like competition stuff it's purely subjective, So which is why like a gambler is a great name, because you're just gambling.
Yeah.
You
don't know what's coming out.
Yeah. So, and that's cool. And like, I think if I really do sink my teeth back into drifting, like that's something I would look forward to in the future, to do, I think.
Dude, at least do a track day.
Yeah. But like,
it's cheap relatively to just go do a track day. You do once, like $500, whatever.
Yeah.
You go in, you drive for a day.
Is it the same tech for like Club Loose? Like, could a Club Loose car, generally speaking,
get
in?
For the most part.
Yeah. Okay.
Could get you through. They get bent out of shape on harnesses and stuff like that. But Club Loose requires you to have up to date stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like Club Loose tech is dude, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I
like
think the only
their
thing
tech
that
is pretty good.
Yeah. I think the only thing I've heard so far is that like with seats, they don't care if the seat's out of date. That's
fine.
They're
you know how many race cars go through tech? Through my shop?
Yeah.
Everything with seats that expired 15 years ago.
Yeah.
The only requirement is they want a back brace.
Okay.
If the seats expired, you have a back brace.
Okay.
And that's it.
Is that like a Hans device, or is that like
coming off the roll cage?
Yeah.
It's pretty much off the roll cage, and it wants a flat piece of metal
support.
touch. It's a back support. They call them back braces.
Okay.
But that's it, because like seats are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You can, the cheapest like FIA seat. Maybe, I don't know if you
maybe
could get one
$2,000.
for $2,000. No, you could probably get one for like $500-$600.
Oh, okay.
But you can, like, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Like, you could probably spend $5,000 on a good seat.
Yeah. I was like of the opinion that like the good seats that were like FIA like approved and generally like the Halo seats, they're usually like $2,000, but maybe, I guess
they could be. I haven't priced none of
Yeah.
Our customers that run them. They're all braced.
Yeah, I think I've seen like some Thrash racing seats that are like, I think they're like just under $1,000. I think $1,000 is probably like that.
I could
like,
be dead wrong on it.
limit.
I've never
Yeah.
priced them because it's just not anything. Like
Yeah.
in my world, like you brace it.
Yeah.
You got a cage and you brace the seat and you call it a day.
Yeah. You ever see yourself like actually getting your own car to go, or is like your scenario just too good to be true?
No, so I won't drive my boss's car again.
Yeah.
After the crash, I don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
It's different when you crash your own car.
Yeah.
You butch it back together, do whatever you got to do. Oh, whatever, I was a dick. When you crash somebody else's car, it's got to go back better than it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, like you take it to, we had like our body shop that we use. You send it to him. I'll get like whatever parts I can. You send it to him. You get the car back. The car needs to be right.
Yeah.
And the car came back and the car was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. And he was happy with it. Cause like, I don't want to like, I have a body guy who does cheap body work for me.
Yeah.
I don't want him to get it back and be like, oh, it doesn't look as good as it did. Like it's got to be right. It's got to be better than it was before I fucked it up.
Right.
So, I did that, and the car came back, and he was thrilled with it.
Yeah.
And it cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
I'll build my own little, like, track car.
Yeah.
But I won't do it with somebody else's car again.
Yeah.
I rode that for a while. I did that for a couple of years. I got a lot of good seat time out of driving it. And it was nice because I was like a borderline professional level race car that I got to drive, and I got to go out and torment some muscle car guys with. Like it was a lot of fun, but you know, I overstayed my welcome, and I learned the hard way.
Yeah, and like you said, like it sucks to learn the hard way, and it costs you so much money, and like, you know, and it also like it's got to sting a little too as well, like, you know, like more than it would if it was just your car. You know? We're like,
it's embarrassing, dude.
Right.
It was really, really. So the worst part of it is, like, we got there. It was a Saturday morning. He was driving Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
He was booked for the weekend. Saturday morning, it was first session.
Yeah.
I take the car out, and he told me, he was like, look, the slicks on the car are pretty spent, so, like, be careful with them.
Mm-hmm.
And ran the car. I think I got 3 laps in. I was skating a bit. The car was pushing a lot. And the car is... The safe way to set up a race car is to set it up to understeer.
Yeah.
Because understeer, like, you come into a corner too hot, it understeers a bit, and then you usually catch control of it, and you can put it back through the corner. A car for oversteer tends to be more competitive, but if you come into a corner too hot, that the ass end steps out, and
you don't know where it's going.
And a lot of things, like, I show people the videos of the crash, and they're like, "Oh, you needed to countersteer."
Yeah.
You think so? Like, you can countersteer so much. When a slick's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
You can get them back. I've gotten them back before, but, like, it was gone.
Yeah, and you need a lot of space.
I watched the video time and time again, and I asked him.
I'm sure.
I was like, "Can I was this totally me?" He was like, "Well, like, yes, obviously it was your fault, but once it was out to the point it was out, you were not getting it back. Like, we were going into the wall."
Yeah.
But, like, that's what it was, and came down, lost it, buried in the wall, and he was in the car with me because, like, I wanted pointers.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting on the side of sitting in like the tire walls, waiting for the ambulance to get there. Like, you can't get out of the car; you gotta wait for the ambulance to come pick you up. And I'm like, holy fuck, I'm sorry. Like, you feel like an asshole.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's okay, it's not that bad. And I'm sitting there, and I can't feel the whole left. The car's got door bars.
Mm-hmm.
The door bars stop at, like, like bottom of my rib cage, and the top of the door just came straight in on me.
Oh,
and, like, my whole, like, I can't even feel my left arm, and I'm like, it's that bad.
Yeah.
Like, like, we hit on my side. Your side feels good. And then he got out of the car, and he goes, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And the whole side of the car was just caved in.
Fuck. Yeah, that's wild. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you guys did have a real cage, and safety was not a question in that car, man, because it is crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
I wish I had a Halo seat and a Hans on, because I got fucking I had a wicked concussion.
Damn. Yeah. What was that recovery like? I mean, how bad did you get banged up aside from concussion?
My whole arm was, like, black and blue the next day.
Fuck.
Just from the door coming in on my arm.
Yeah.
And then I had a concussion. Like, they put me in the ambulance and, like, you know, checking you out, and you're like, you want to get out of it at that point. You're like, let me out. I want to go look at the car. I need to figure out what's going on here.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you have a concussion. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sure. Like, obviously, whatever.
Yeah, don't weigh off.
Because I blasted my head on the cage. I had a helmet on, obviously.
Right,
but, like,
right,
still,
right.
like, you, like,
it rattles
you. Yeah, it gives you a good little jerk. And then I was out drinking that night. Like, the one thing they told me, like, do not consume alcohol. You have a concussion. So I was upset. So I went out and consumed alcohol.
Yeah. Damn.
But no, I was a little
other than that
bruised up. No, there's nothing crazy. It was pretty minor.
Yeah.
We hit the wall. I spun at like 115, 120.
That's crazy.
Lost a little bit of speed. We tried calculating out exactly, because, like, we have the GPS speedo in the car and everything. We tried to figure out, like, I hit the wall probably like high 80s, maybe low 90s.
Yeah.
But it's tired.
Was it like and I remember seeing the video a while ago, but was it like more of like a side impact and then bounce off the wall?
Yeah, I came all the way around, thankfully. We had a customer the day before did the exact same thing.
No way.
But they hit nose in.
Oh.
So they hit it on the front end, but they were still turning as they hit.
Is it the momentum?
The car rolled.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Total. The car was. This was a street car, but just absolutely totaled the car.
Holy shit.
Then, like, he sent it to us, and we're like, holy shit. And, like, I'm looking at the pictures and all. I'm like, that had to be scary as shit.
Yeah.
And then I did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So thankfully, like, I spun a little bit more, and I hit. So, like, I came around, and I just hit perfectly on the side.
Yeah.
Like, all the impact was right on my side.
Yeah.
I hit a little bit on the nose.
Yeah.
But all the impact was all on the driver's side.
Damn.
which is good because if like we hit on the front, we could have gone upside down, and I would really like to stay not upside down.
I'm flying through the air. It's not good.
This is not good. Yeah. And it all happens in slow mo. As soon as it happened, I'm looking through the car, and like I remember looking back and looking at the tire wall, and I'm gonna hit that.
Yeah.
And then I was fully backwards, and I'm just looking in the side view mirror, and I go, "This is gonna suck," and then just smacking into it.
Fuck. Yeah, man, and like it is so crazy how little time like you have, and like when I saw the video, like even in the video, like what the fuck happened? Like it's like you just hit a banana peel, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking so fast.
Yep.
Like you just hit the counter steer. Like fuck those guys. You're right.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, we got back. I got back to work on Monday, and there was a kid that was working with us at the time. He was like some pro drifter. He claimed.
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah.
Hey.
He's like, I used to go to Club Loose, and I'm like, that's awesome. I was like, I spent a lot of time at Club Loose. He goes, yeah, I used to. He had a stock KA. He's like, yeah, I would enter on the front straight at like 100 miles an hour.
No,
like,
you wouldn't.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, you did not. I was like, I ran the front straight in an LS powered car, and I didn't enter it at 100 miles an hour. And like, I asked Julian because I'm like, he's probably entering a lot faster than I am. Like, how fast are you going? He's like, I don't know, like 80, like max. I'm like, yeah, this kid's so full of shit. Like, I knew he was full of shit, but I'm like, now
like,
you're really
a KA physically, if you have the balls, a KA is physically not going to do.
Well, that was another
0
like,
to
so
100.
I mapped it out, and I'm like, this is less than a quarter mile. A KA is not doing 100 miles in the quarter.
Dude.
Like, you're doing 42 miles an hour if you're lucky. If there's a good backwind, like maybe. And he's like, oh, you should have just counter steered. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that is preposterous because like I don't know, man, and I do like this kind of racing, but man, it just seems like the stakes are so high, and it just because I've been trying to figure out because obviously like I've got this like new itch, you know, I have the new car and like there's an itch to get back into it, and obviously it's drifting for me. It's always been my thing, and my always my excuse because like and again like I don't have any experience on the track, and you're right, I should try it. But like when I watch videos of people driving on a track and then like the back kicks out and they're able to just like keep the gas on and then pin it back, like that's when you see everybody like clapping. They're like, dude, that was awesome, like good job, and then you know. But if you're just going around a turn, they're like, it's good.
Yeah,
that was a good turn. It's like it's not exciting.
Drifting's a lot. Drifting
it's exciting.
has an excitement factor to it.
Yeah,
a lot. And that's something I loved about it. It's like it's you can watch road course racing.
Yeah.
If you're not watching it like the top tier pro level, it's not entertaining to watch.
Right.
For the most
part. And that's what we're getting into like the whole
and you can
thing.
watch amateur level drifting and you're like, this is awesome.
Fucking crazy. Yeah. Yeah, and like this was one that we watched yesterday. This is a really cool one. The same thing. This is like a David and Goliath kind of match.
Okay.
But this is pretty fun. Get a little audio in here. Oh.
This is an interesting lineup of cars.
Yeah, and like that's what we loved. It was like there's a Civic, an old Celica, E92.
Is that an E39 in the front?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is racing an E39?
So that car, the blue car, I think is a Ford Macallan.
I don't even know.
Some like it's like Australian
British version.
Yeah. But yeah, this Civic just no brakes. Dude, you see that?
Yeah.
Bro, the brakes, like for how long? Yeah, this is like the most viewed one, and I'll like try to like stop it like Adrian did, but when
yeah, so he's on brakes now.
Yeah,
and he's just
and
right
the
up
Civic
the
is no brake, all gas, still no brakes. Like right
he
there,
was fully around him before he even looked at the brakes.
Yeah.
So,
and then just trying to keep a hold of it, getting through the corner. That's
dude,
intense, bro. Yeah.
I've never been a Honda guy.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the Honda guys because I do want to build a badass.
Yeah,
Honda.
could be cool.
I want to do like a 4-wheel drive Civic for like $12.
I know, bro. They're like,
so cheap.
Yeah, like somehow like the entire like Honda scene has just missed inflation.
Yeah.
Like a 240 today is like a one that's like rusted out. It's like still $8,000 and it's bone stock.
A
Or
Honda
like,
Civic with a K series in it.
Yeah.
What you got in your pocket?
yeah,
Like-
just whatever you show up with, you're taking it. You know. But like, yeah, you could buy a good car for like $5,000, and it's fast, and there's tons of aftermarket stuff. Where like that equivalent for a 240 or even an E36 today would be, you know, $10,000 or more. It's crazy.
Honda Challenge is good racing to watch. That's
Yeah.
a lot of those guys. It's a like kind of a spec class for Hondas, but they do a lot of different variants of it. So like you'll have everything from like, you know. I'm not that good with Honda chassis, but like first generation Civics and Integras and stuff like that to S2000s.
Yeah.
And they're all racing the same race. Like, that's a
S2000
first gen Integra
Integra.
next to an S2000.
Yeah.
And they limit power and they limit weight. So like it
Yeah.
really keeps a lot of the cars pretty equally.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. I like that. Another one. Another nice little kit.
Another Kith.
This is it. That's in New Jersey too. It's in JMP.
Damn. And so now this is clearly not a weekend warriors. Everyone's going out to have fun. If they're hitting,
yeah,
this is intense.
If you're rubbing your race,
yeah. I mean, he's got like that door on him, right? Like that S2K is next to him.
yeah.
Yeah. But like this is the kind of stuff that I really enjoy when you get like a spread of different cars, and like, yeah, they limit it by weight, and like maybe they limit it by tire, but like you can have whatever you want. Just come and bring the fastest shit that you can.
Yeah, I love it
know?
and I hate it.
Yeah.
Because it never lands fairly.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you're allowed to have, you know, you're allowed to be 500 pounds lighter. Well, 500 pounds. You're allowed to be 200 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
But you got to limit horsepower, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Oh, like this S2000 makes another 100 horsepower.
Yeah.
Than over this, Civic.
Yeah.
So here, put this 200 pounds of weight in, and it all works out. Like you watch them, and like the good drivers are door to door.
Yeah.
It is competitive racing, but I like the all stops pulled racing. And everyone finds a chassis that they're familiar with and that they like, and they just go out and they
Right. So then it doesn't matter what tire, how heavy, what car, what
just
engine.
who's fastest.
Yeah.
Who's fast and who's got the most money to spend.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
in like BMW Club, they get into modified classes. Mm-hmm. So you have like your sport classes, you have your prepared classes, and you get into modified, and that's just a money spending competition. Who
Yeah.
can spend
And
the
so
most.
I see, and like I don't know if I like that as much, because I think that was kind of my argument about like FD, where like now with like FD, it's like, it was a money spending like project,
And that's what
which,
it
like,
is. It's what it comes down to.
And like at first, like that was cool, but then RTR got in, and like Ford Motor Company was like, we're just gonna engineer the greatest chassis ever, and that's what we're gonna do, and that's what they did. And like now they've just created this blueprint to where like I could flash forward, and we're gonna have Mustangs, and we're gonna have FRSs, with 1Js, and like that's gonna be the only platform.
You box out a lot of talented people.
Yeah, but then also like other like competent and fun, exciting chassis.
Yeah.
Like in the early FD, you had like Reese Millen that like tried with the Solstice, which like was a terrible idea, and like there's probably tons and tons of money.
I remember watching them run though, and it was so fucking exciting.
Yeah, and like the R&D, that goes into like making that chassis work, and getting it to a track event that, where it was successful, you know, and it's a lot of work, but like that's fun, and like seeing that like different thing, and then also like the power like just going up and up and up to where it's like, well, now there's only so many engines that can even like keep up, like SR20s or been out for years.
Oh yeah, whatever they were running. I forget what car it was. I think it was a TC. Whoever had the TC.
Oh yeah, I think Ryan Turk.
Was he running an actual TC?
Yeah.
But it was like 1,200 horsepower 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
It's like, who the fuck is putting this thing together?
Yeah. Well,
like, how many laps is that making?
Yeah.
Like one pass, and like, oh, it was blown up halfway down the straight.
Yeah. And like they got that, and now he's driving the GR Corolla, and all that stuff. Like, and those cars didn't come rear-wheel drive, so like they had like some kind of like technicality, because technically the car is like some car that was in like Australia or Japan where it did, and so they got through. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I like it all. I'm kind of with you, but like I'm
on both sides.
Exactly.
Of it.
Yeah.
It's I love seeing the different chassis and the money spending. It's not like money spending, but like that's just what it ends up. Look, his right tire is not on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, Hondas are definitely like famous for. Oh yeah.
Yep. Pick the wheels right up.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's what they do. They are three-wheeling around the track.
Dog
at all
legging.
times. And
Yeah.
they're fast.
Yeah.
They're very, very fast. My boss drives with Honda Challenge cars from time to time, and he's like, they are fucking fast.
Yeah.
He's like, you are so fucking pissed when one of those gets around you. They are fast.
What's your, if you were like to build a car to do a grip racing today, what would you pick?
I would do an E36.
Yeah.
Just because I am so familiar with the chassis. I don't think it's the best chassis.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a lot of guys go on podcasts and like, well, this is the best one.
Yeah.
It's not the best one.
Yeah.
But bang for your buck, and I am familiar with it.
Yeah.
I know the chassis very, very well.
Yeah.
If it was a money spending competition and like all stops were pulled out, not necessarily money spending competition. If I were to just like go for something that I didn't like, I wanted to experiment with, I would do like a 350Z. I love 350Zs. I loved mine. I thought that was an awesome chassis.
I personally hate the way they sound. I'm
I
not
like
a fan.
the way they sound.
I'm not a fan.
I like the trumpets.
Yeah,
But,
I'm not a fan.
I mean,
hate it
mine's
so
going to
much.
sound good because it's going to have a fucking LS in it. So I'm an adult. It's going to have an LS in it.
Yeah, and LSs just fit in 350Zs just too fucking well.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
LS is
nothing to
everything.
do.
LS fits in 240s better than a KA fits in a 240.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about your trans tunnel.
Don't
You had
worry
to,
about
like,
the trans
fucking
tunnel. What are you, a
demolish.
cop? It needs to be moved back like 3 or 4 inches.
That's absurd.
It's not that far.
Listen, 3 inches is huge.
For some of us, maybe it is. For me, it's not that big. I'm cool with 3 inches.
Dude,
We'll move
3
it back.
inches is
Back it
a
up.
mile. Okay, ask anyone. Yeah.
That's also using a big train. You could do CDO9. I
Yeah.
think they're a little bit smaller.
Mhm.
Maybe you only have to move an inch.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's true. I mean, I don't think it's probably a very uncommon thing to go LS and use a CDO9, but I bet for applications like
I think
that
guys
where
are
it
doing
makes
it 'cause
sense.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
Or I assume CDO9s, like drift taxes, probably hit them at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what a CDO9 costs, but I can guarantee that. I mean, if I had to bet on it, I would say that the T56 is still more expensive.
Dude, what was it? When did I put my 240? It was 10 years ago.
Crazy.
10 years ago, I did mine.
Yeah.
I could not get a T56.
Damn.
I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
I looked everywhere. Marketplace, nope. Can't have it. Nothing.
Damn.
Could not find one. I was calling RPM Transmissions, going, can I please have a T56? Absolutely. We will send you. And, like, they don't sell like, basic transmissions. Everything's built.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we'll send you a built T56. I'm like, awesome. Please send it. They go,
Yeah.
well, you got to give us a core. I'm like, I don't have a core. I'll pay the whatever, $1,000, $1,500 core charge. They go, well, nope. Can't have it.
What?
Yeah. I never got one. I got a TR 6060.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What is that out of?
It's out of the newer Camaros.
Okay.
So like the Transformers era Camaros.
Yeah.
It's
0506.
that,
Yeah.
So a TR 6060 is very similar to a T56 Magnum. People argue they're the same thing. I'm not a GM guy.
Right.
I don't know exactly what is what. But some people call it a T56 Magnum. Some people call it a TR 6060. That's what it is. It's a bigger input shaft. It's the same input shaft. It's a bigger output shaft, and it's a little bit longer. And then I just had them.
Still $2,900. This one's fucking.
That's a good deal. Mine was $4,500.
Damn.
I got carbon fiber synchros though. I don't know why I need them, but I have them.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, it is cool to see all like the new like adapter plates and just like where like you can almost just kind of hand pick whatever trans you want to
Yeah,
use.
so people dove into the CDO9s and they figured out they were pretty strong and they held power. And then people also moved into, I don't know what the designation is for, but the BMW transmissions out of like the 335, 135s, that's 6-speed.
Yeah, the ZF. right?
Yeah, some variant of a ZF,
Yeah.
like GY6.
Oh, right. I know what you
whatever.
mean. Yeah, yeah.
But
Whatever
guys,
specifically.
Yeah, guys liked them a lot. And like,
Yeah.
dude, they were bulletproof. I had one in my 1 Series.
Yeah.
That was, mid 600s power wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I abused that. I beat it like a drunken stepdad. And it works.
Yeah.
It worked good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one of the transmissions that a lot of people are using on the K-swaps when they're putting in. Like,
the Beamer Transits?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they got to be
like,
a dime a dozen. They made so many 335s and 135s, and they're all in junkyards now because,
Yeah. Yeah. What's your take on all the K-swaps?
Oh, it's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm for it. I get excited for it. I'm not a Honda guy.
Yeah.
I was never into Hondas. Was never my thing. I respect it a lot.
Yeah.
But I see K Series engines in stupid cars, and I'm
Dude.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've
I
always
saw one early. It was an E46 that had a turbo K Series. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Like, it works.
Let's
And
go.
dude, they are workhorses at engines.
Yeah.
Like, you can't hurt them.
I know.
You just run them, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and the engines themselves are cheap. I've been hearing that the whole swap process is pretty expensive. Like buying the mounts, yeah, and then just and then those engines have balance shafts, so they're not a street car engine. They're not something you want to like pop in and just kind of be like a cruiser for a car show kind of car. They're definitely like purpose built for like racing.
Okay.
Whatever. That's what like people are
We're
kind of
talking
saying.
about like a K Series out of like a CRV.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
a street car engine?
Well, no, it's exactly. So I know that it sounds funny, but like what everyone's saying is that because of the mount kits specific positions, because the engine goes from basically a hanging position, when it's sitting in a CRV or a Honda Civic.
Oh, and then you solid mount it and it just shakes like a chihuahua.
Yeah, and like not only yeah, and then like, not only that, but like now like you've twisted it sideways. You've removed the balance shaft depending on like what engine you've actually bought.
Oh, so they're just throwing the balance shafts out.
Yeah, I think you have to because because of the oil pump.
How do they run them? Do they run them in the pans?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're removing the oil pump from the ones that have the balance shaft because of where the getting the engines to sit low enough.
Okay.
Because they're very tall engines. So, but then like now you've grabbed it like down here at the bottom, like where like you have these mounts that are like connected to like the bottom of the block. And so like now you have this top heavy thing that's trying to vibrate. So the vibrations are just like annoying.
And a 4-cylinder isn't a good engine.
Yeah. And especially when you have one that had to have a balance shaft and then you pull it out, it's like, brother.
Yeah. What do you think that's going to do?
Yeah. So, but I mean, like Hurt has already blown up one. He's had a great time with his, making tons of power, and tons of people have been doing it, and they are fun. I just saw my favorite so far. My favorite K-swap has been there was one in like an 01 Silverado. Bro, dude. It bent the fucking drive shaft on the dyno.
What?
Dude.
How much power did it make?
Bro, I'm going to pull this up. Oh, fuck. Dude, it let's go to YouTube.
All right, I need a pee break.
Pee break, that's a good idea because I'm going to pull this up and take yeah, this is wild. So, K-swapped Silverado. Dude, this yeah, still spinning and just spit out the fucking drive shaft right there. Holy shit. Yeah, so dude, when I saw this, that's when I was like, all right, the K-swaps are just getting fucking out of hand. This is ridiculous, dude.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, half joking. But I'm like, bro, we've gotten to the point where we're putting K-swaps in Silverados. But yeah, no, I'm with it. And so a K-swap Mustang is funny, but I think what's even better is a case or a rotary swapped. Yeah.
Okay.
Rotary swap
So
Mustang.
I'm all into anything that just pisses white people off. So my goal, I love 65 Mustangs.
Yeah.
I think they're great looking cars. I want to take a 65 Mustang. I want to do a turbo M50 in it. And I want to get a vanity plate for it that says WW2. And I want to see how many car meets I can get chased out of. Like, I want to show up to, like, the old head, like, the Corvette cars and coffees meets.
Fuck
and
yeah.
just see how many dudes can lose their fucking mind that I put a German engine inside of an American car.
Yeah, dude, me too. I was telling Adrian about that too. Like if I want to like do a rotary swap Mustang but just make it like, and it's gonna be like a good car. Like it would be like a good Mustang that people would like love to restore. Like it would be like some boomers like dream,
that's what, like 65.
retirement.
Like that's a pinnacle for somebody.
Yeah,
Like people
yeah.
love 65s. I think it's a gorgeous car.
Yeah.
And like I want to take that and I want to put a shitty E36 engine in it.
Yeah. Yeah, just like buy someone's like midlife crisis that they've just been dying for and then just abominate it with a rotary or something stupid. Yeah.
Like Snoop Marketplace and like I don't even know if Craigslist is still a thing.
Oh, so that's actually I wanted to bring that up because you had mentioned Craigslist. So Craigslist now is believe it or not, it's where
just
all
back
the
pages now.
Yeah.
Is that all it is?
So I thought the same thing, but now it's all the good cars because what has happened?
Really?
Yeah, because it costs money to post on here. So
Really?
Yeah. So what's happened is why do I mean is it cars? Why is it set? Oh, here we go. I'm
Cars and
missing.
trucks.
Aha.
You're
Yeah,
okay.
sorry.
What, are you drinking or something?
Yeah. So now
You said it
Craigslist-
was all the nice cars. You just pulled up a 2013 Toyota Prius, an 04 Malibu, an 83 GLX convertible Mustang. I didn't even know that was a thing. And an Ultima.
Okay.
You lied to me. You looked me in the face and you lied to me. This is the nice cars.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
I'm in North Philly right now.
Okay, to be fair, I mean, this is a good car.
Oh, it's a Turbo FC.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't like, like some garbage rusted out. I mean, look at this.
That is nice.
Yeah, this is nice, which is, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean,
What does he
obviously
want for
I
that
didn't even.
$1,500
I love that, dude. Just showing up and just being like, yeah, well, all right, so what do you want
Flag
for
it.
this?
Keep flagging it until he sells it to me.
But yeah, so if we do, like, what's a.
Well, you're in the wrong
let's
section.
do E36.
No, so look, you're a man looking for a car from another man. You need to go to men's seeking men section. You hit an E36. I'm looking at F-150s.
Yeah, dude, this is all right. The search engine's fucked.
What did they do to you? There is a way to get like the dealer shit out of there, and I forget how people do it.
I know. I wish. Buy owner. Aha! Look at this.
There you go. That's
Very
not bad.
cool. 29,000 or 24,900.
Where's that posted? I don't know that car. Title status missing. Love it.
Love it. Oh, look at this. The car currently holds class track record at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So,
Okay.
shout out.
So it's a cheater engine. What you're telling me.
Holy shit, there's a lot going on with this thing.
You stupid fuck. You literally just told right there. OE Molly overbore pistons. It's an IS car. Those are cheater pistons.
Oh shit.
That bumps compression. You literally just said you made a cheater
You're
motor.
cheating. Yeah, because that's out of regulation.
Yeah, you can't do you can do overbore so much, but the Mala pistons for these cars are a cheater pit. They bump compression.
Damn.
Not much. It's not enough.
So the cat's out of the bag. It doesn't actually hold a record if it's
I mean,
Oh shit, is that like one of those
it's a cool suit box.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a weird place to mount that. Wouldn't
Yeah,
put that
you would
in the
think you would
trunk.
want it a little bit more forward.
Yeah, we usually do them passenger
seat
area.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. These cars do tend to be light. We run big batteries in them,
Really?
and because that right rear corner tends to be light on E36s.
Oh, okay. It's kind of balancing out the driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just ends up that way. Like we run a full size battery in ours. Like everyone's like, oh, I need this little race battery, like this tiny little, $2,000 battery. And I'm like, yeah, we run a full size in ours because like we want the weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's outside of the axle. Like, I do understand why you don't want it, but that's another one of those things. It doesn't make sense on paper, but it just kind of works out.
Yeah. Yeah, but generally speaking, like this one, and again, like whether you decide like the car is shitty or not, but like this car's on here for 10 grand. You know, we're talking in 328 E36. So, but it just seems like because there's, you know, like a barrier to entry, like you end up with just nicer cars.
12.5, dude, that's a very fair. Like, I don't even have to look at the rest of that listing. That's a very fair price.
Yeah.
For
M3.
dude, E36 M3s.
Yeah.
What, 5-6 years ago? That was like a sub $10,000 car.
Yeah.
12.5 for that. Like, that's a tempting buy because it's arguably worth more than that.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because that's such a bullshit car.
I know.
We got such the short end of the stick on that.
And like honestly, the car is not that great, which this is like kind of a perfect segue. I'm glad you brought up Craigslist because I kind of wanted to do this like little review thing. This is like because like these cars, I don't know. I mean, like, oh no, where do you stand on like the strut tower braces?
I like that style.
Okay.
I think the best, pretty much best one you do. I think Bimmer World does a LTW, so like the lightweight E36.
Yeah.
They do a replica brace for it. I don't like any of the aluminum braces. It should be steel. People will argue. People are going to fight me on anything I say, but you don't want the flat ones because the flat ones will. It doesn't sound right, but the flat ones will twist this way. Like as the flatter they get, the more they allow that twist back and forth.
Yeah.
When they're rounder, like the tube style ones, don't really allow that. Like because they tighten up. It's essentially a long bolt across the engine bay.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, have you seen those the supports for S13, S14s on the fender, where it bolts like just behind the door? It's like when you pulled the fender off, you'd have like this triangle that like bolts to the side, and it's supposed to like reinforce like the whole
like
front end.
Like what, the strut tower?
Kind of, but it would literally just would bolt underneath of where the fender sits.
No, I haven't seen that at all. Dude, I've been out of the game for a while as far as 240s go.
And I think it's kind of an old school thing, but I've just been seeing just as I've been like snooping, and I'm
if
back.
you take my fender off, the only thing you're going to see is some zap screws and my wiring harness zip tied up high. Because that's what we figured out 10 years ago, and I'll die on that hill.
Yeah. How's your car on rust? Your S14?
Spotless.
Dude.
I'll give you $100 if you want to spec a rust on.
Fuck yeah.
That fucking car is spotless. I bought it off of a body guy.
Really?
So the dude who I bought it off of, I met the guy. I went up, he was selling BC coilovers, which we thought was the greatest thing of all time at the time.
Yeah.
And he was selling a set of kooky taillights. Back when you could buy kooky taillights, I paid $150 for kooky taillights.
Dude.
I think they go for like $800 now.
Fuck yeah, they do.
So I went up, I bought the taillights off of him, I bought the coilovers off of
They're
him.
like legit ones?
Yeah, they're real kooky tails. I also have a real 200SX cluster in that car with the white back.
Ooh.
Which I think is worth money.
Yeah.
But I have gauges in front of it. Like I do. Like my actual gauges in front. Like I can't even see the fucking cluster. The cluster doesn't work. The only thing that works on the cluster is the fuel gauge. That's the only reason I still have it. Otherwise, I'd rip it the fuck out.
Yeah. I do love the new displays. You know.
Yeah. So I want to do an aim in it.
Okay.
I like aims a lot.
Yeah.
But it's just I got to get the car out of storage, and I got steps to take.
Yeah.
And figure it all out.
Yeah. Yeah, because unfortunately you're not quite set up, with a garage and stuff. You're doing a lot of storage unit. So
I mean it's
not fun.
Yeah, it's a good unit. It's
Yeah.
climate controlled and everything. But.
Oh shit.
Oh no, it's
damn.
proper. It's not
Yeah.
it's not shoved in a hole. It's climate controlled, air conditioned, cooled, ventilated.
That's cool.
That was my thing. Is like I moved and I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna lose a garage spot. I'm like, the car's not sitting outside.
Yeah.
I was like, will not sit outside. I will not see elements. Like I
Yeah.
get too much into it, and I got the car painted.
Yeah, which I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it looks,
Yeah.
dude, it looks killer.
Well, I'm
I
dying
got
to
all
see
the
it out
body
again.
work's done on it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like everyone breaks my balls. Like, oh, go drifting again. I'm like, I don't want to. Like, I'm just gonna fuck the car up.
Yeah,
like,
you need,
dude,
you
it's
need a
too
different
nice
car.
now. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I told
But-
Julian, like, we were hanging out the one night. I'm like, dude, like, I'm not drifting again. He's like, all right, then go buy something else. I'm like, you find me a turnkey 350Z for $5,000.
Yeah.
I'll go buy it tomorrow. I woke up the next day. He had 6 listings he sent me for Z's under $5,000. Like, son of a bitch! Now I gotta go buy one of these fucking things.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like, to what you were just saying, too, like, if you were to get back into it, like, buying a Z, like, you could do both. You could go, you know, and, like we were saying, you don't need knuckles, like, you know, you just need a nice, straight car that, like, you could...
I would run a Z. I would do,
both.
like, if I could get I don't know what the market is. All the ones he sent me are, like, you know, early 03, 04s, you know, no title, smashed, whatever. I don't give a fuck. I had my Z was a high rev. That was a fucking awesome engine.
Yeah.
That was an awesome car. If I could get a hold of a high rev for cheap, I would dive right back into drifting.
Yeah.
I'd drift the fuck
And again,
out.
like, you could also, like, with, you know, an afternoon and an alignment, like, you could put that car right into a grip race.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
You
I could do both with it.
Yeah.
I still have, I want to do the grip racing. I want to do the lemons. I want to set all that up, but I have a TI.
That's so
It's kind of dedicated to it. So
Yeah.
I got to get it back from Scooter. Scooter's kind of holding it for me.
Yeah.
I gifted it to him when I
Scooter.
moved, and I'm like,
Yeah.
here, like, take the TI.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do something with it. He's like, I'll wait for you to come around. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. I was like, well, then we're gonna make it a lemons car. I was
Dude,
like, if you're not
that-
gonna like cut the roof off of it and like run one of your friends over with it, like
Yeah.
then we'll make it a lemons car.
Yeah, that would be sick.
So I think that's the goal now.
Yeah.
Is to make that a lemons car. And like I love E36s. That's a horrible, like that's the worst version of one.
Definitely.
But dude, they fuck.
They do.
Like the last time I drove a TI, I got like 5 or 6 phone numbers from women. I just made that up, but like it's possible. It could have happened.
How many digits? Was it like 3?
It was weird. Every single number started with 555. I don't know what that means, but none of them went through.
Yeah.
I have
if you
7 restraining orders.
Yeah, if you got a TI, you're not getting any puss. But
No.
you're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The backs
Yeah,
bumped
those are
out a little
sick.
bit, so like you and your homeboys can back there and like monkey around.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like gay stuff, but like you
Yeah.
guys can like hang out. in the
Yeah,
back.
whatever, you know, boys get up to in the back
Yeah.
seat of cars. Yeah.
It's usually gay stuff.
It's usually gay. Yeah, I wish you had never gotten rid of your other TI.
I don't know why I got rid of it. That was awesome.
Was M50 swapped and
No, that was
welded
that
diff?
was a M52, S52 cams,
Fuck yeah.
M50 manifold, 3.5-inch MAF. That was like all the basic bolt-ons.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're like just like a dude like E36 bro, like that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
That was an awesome engine.
Yeah.
That was out of Kyle's car.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle,
yeah, that's right.
Kyle bought his 328 off of some dude, and he was like a big E36 enthusiast and like did all that. And then Kyle hit a deer and like the car got all fucked up. And
Yeah.
eventually he tried to save it for a while. He ended up just giving up on it.
Yeah.
And I bought it off of him. And then I gave the suspension to Chris. Chris wanted I think he had coilovers off of it, and I put the motor in the TI.
Yeah.
And dude, it was a ripper.
Yeah. Such
Like
a cool
that
car.
was like,
I know, and you had it for like just a couple months, and then it was just
yeah.
yeah.
So that had an E30 M3 rear in it.
Yeah.
And it was 411 gears.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sucked on the highway.
so I raced Chris. Chris had the S52 swapped 325.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which had
the
like a
maroon one.
similar, pretty badass, like little like bolt-on S52 build, and a 325.
Yeah.
And we raced on the highway, and like this is like right when I got it together.
Yeah.
We take off. I grab 5th gear, and I am on rev limiter. And I look down. I'm doing 108 miles an hour, and that's it. That's all she's got. Like that was it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. So like between like I never did any of the math. I'm like, yeah, just put things inside of
Yeah.
things. Like that's
Yeah.
just what I do.
Yeah.
So between it was the E30 diff with 411s or 410s, whatever it was, And then the ZF Trans, and it just fucked it all up, dude. It just ran right out on the highway. It was a ripper off the line, though. Like,
dude, it would have been
first
like
through
best.
like fourth. The car was a rocket.
Yeah, I know. And like, it's like, you know, it's all over with now. But like, I think about it like now. I'm like, if I just didn't sell all the shit that I had, and I really didn't need to sell it. There was like, you know, you just sell it because like, I don't know. I'm always like either all in or all out, and so I'm just like, oh, if I'm not using it, fucking sell it.
Yep.
And I did that, and like
that's what I did with the TI. I got bored with it. I'm like, all right, like I don't like it was loud.
Yeah.
Too. I was working in Narberth at the time. It was like a little really quiet town. I'm like, it's too loud.
So loud.
Get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
not put a muffler on it.
Fuck?
Let's just put a. Let's just sell
dude,
it.
that's exactly what it was like. They put a muffler on. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'll just get rid of the car.
The car's too sick for a muffler.
And dude, like I pretty much gave the thing away.
Yeah, I know.
I think I saw it. I put it up.
30.
I think I put it up for like 3,500.
Yeah.
And like nobody really bid on it. And I think I ended up selling it for like $3,000 flat. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, like I would pay like $5,000 to have that
Yeah,
car. Like I think it was
fuck
awesome.
yeah.
That was such
Yeah.
a fun car.
And I don't think it had interior, right? Did it have?
It had Vaders in the front.
Yeah.
It had heated power Vaders up front.
Yeah.
It had black M3 door cards, and then in the back it had M3 sedan seats, or no, M3 coupe seats. So like it had little M stripes on the leather, and then the trunk was fully gutted.
Yeah.
And it was just all bare metal, and that pissed me off. So I did a wood floor in it. I got like little 1x3s.
Oh, I think I do remember
I did
that.
the wood floor. I built the subwoofer box into the corner,
Yeah.
and I stained all the wood. Like, dude, it looked sweet.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. Damn it. You're an idiot for that.
Yeah, dude. If
God
anybody,
damn it.
if that car's out there today, you'll notice it. It's a silver TI with a wood grain trunk.
Yeah.
I will buy it back. You name your price.
Yeah.
I would like to have that.
Hit my
piece.
line. Yeah. I know, dude. Because like when I had the S14, the maroon one, like I had the truck. Like all I needed was a trailer, and like trailers were they're still cheap. You know, you pick one up for $2,000. I was so close to having like a whole setup, and then you're just kind of like out of money, you're out of time, you're out of like patience, and then just boom, nope, sell it all. And like now, if I could go back, I'm like, what the fuck,
Dude, $2,000 was
An
such a big
SR?
number.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I
dude,
know.
like
That's
10,
what's
like
crazy.
we were in it. We were all into it.
Yeah.
And then like $1,000 and like $2,000.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck, I
Yeah.
just can't do it. Now you look back now and you're like, fuck, man, like
Yeah.
$2,000. That's what we
Yeah.
gave this up over.
Yeah. Yeah, you know that like that famous scene in Interstellar at the very end, spoiler alert, and he's like yelling at himself through the window. Like, you know what I'm talking about? You
I
ever
don't
seen that
even know
movie?
what the fuck Interstellar is.
All right.
I'm not gay, man.
Come on, man. Yeah, it's a good oh fuck, this is a rebuilt title. I
thought that was cheap for a ZHP.
Yeah, I was gonna say like so we stumbled upon this pretty good looking ZHP, which I've
Yeah.
always been a sucker for. I'm
God,
like,
fuck, I hate them, dude. Guys
You
pull
hate
their
'em?
dicks out for them. They think they're the greatest thing to ever walk the earth.
I mean, I know it's a little bit more expensive than what it's worth, but like just that little trim on it just goes hard.
It
on
looks
these.
good. Like that's the best looking version
Yeah.
of an E46 you'll get.
Yeah.
But it's just not like, dude. Like,
Yeah, it's not-
go and bring a trailer and like
Yeah,
look up
it's
what a
not
ZHP
80.
goes for. Like a good ZHP is 20. Like they're M3 prices.
Fuck.
Like
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck
That's
that.
an M54.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get bigger cams, and they get flash.
Yeah. I think that's cool.
And I think they make
Then-
5 more horsepower.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's like it's cool, but like
They
it's
get cool
not-
trim inside. They have Alcantara headliners,
Mm-hmm.
and they get this weird like digital trim, but it's a stupid car.
Yeah.
E46s suck. I'm allowed to say that because I own one, but they're horrible cars.
I reserve the right. I've earned my path. I've paid a
Yeah,
lot of
I got
money
it.
to be here, to be able to talk shit on E36s. Fucking convertible. But I mean, and again, so like this is just I kind of stand on business when I say like the cars
Is it just
that
me?
end up-
Those bottle caps look big.
they do look big, but like
Look like
all the
kinda
cars
fucked.
that end up on Craigslist, whether or not they're priced correctly or not, like none of them really.
Hold on, that's
pieces
a
of shit.
6-speed. Who the fuck is 6-speed swapping a 325?
convertible at that.
Yeah,
Fucking
go
convertible,
down.
dog.
Read on that. What trans is in that? Is that a Euro trans? Red over black. That's nice. E46 M3 6-speed. Okay, so it's not that. I can guarantee you that's the one transmission that's not in that car.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it say.
I don't think 420Gs will bolt up to a M52 or an M50 variant.
I don't know. You'd be surprised. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like all these transmissions that have these like conversion kits. Like, I mean, they're making conversion kits for fucking everything now.
Yeah.
You know. So I wouldn't be that surprised. Are these Dyna like upgrades? Is that like that big of a deal?
Not really.
Yeah,
It depends
so.
what it is. Like Dyna and cold air intake, it's bullshit.
Yeah. 'Cause I love this advertisement for like Dyna.
Dyna did
mods.
badass shit for a while. Like you'd actually get like Dyna superchargers.
Oh, yeah.
Like they did like Dyna S3s and shit like that. Like that was cool stuff. Dyna's done though. BMW bought them out.
No way.
Well, Dyna's still around, but it's owned by BMW. Like
Yeah.
Steve Dynan no longer owns Dynan.
Okay.
He sold it. So now Carbon, like Car BAHN,
Yeah.
that's his new company.
Hmm.
And he's still at it. Like he's still doing like, you know, the BMW tuning and like kind of the badass stuff like that.
Well, that makes sense. That's like what all like successful businesses are.
Yeah, I mean,
looking
that's
for.
what
They're
you
looking
do.
for the buy.
Dude, he did it for years. And like he
Yeah.
wrote it for years. And dude, I don't know how you land a partnership with BMW like that. Like Dynan modifications were always honored under warranty.
Oh.
Like
oh.
you
shit.
could do Dynan superchargers
Yeah.
and stuff. And like they would warranty it. To the best of my knowledge, they would warranty that.
Yeah.
And like that's
That's
like you're just
crazy.
some dude.
Yeah.
Like you're just
Yeah.
some dude.
Yeah. 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 That's pretty intense.
No, he did it well.
What if I had Facebook open? Let's see if we can talk some shit on some Facebook Marketplace cars, and then
Hell yeah.
fucking call this.
Dude, my marketplace is fucked.
Dude, I have a fucking skid steer on mine.
You do.
This-
You want to see mine? Mine's worse. Mine
love to
is
see yours.
first generation Quattroporte Maseratis and lawnmowers.
And lawnmowers. Yeah, I got a zero turn here and a Mustang.
You can buy a Quattroporte for like $5,000.
Yeah.
Like the first gen ones with the flat faces, they're
No
really
way.
ugly. Yeah.
Damn.
Go ahead and hit in Quattroporte. See what comes up. You can probably get them cheaper than $5,000. Don't ask me how to spell it. I think it's an E. Yeah, you spelled that really wrong. There you go.
I got pretty goddamn close.
All right. So
70?
these-
13?
It's a big spread.
13?
There you go.
13
Four.
grand?
4. Right there. That.
Oh, shit. These are
Look at the
nice.
shifter.
Can I
Like, dude, I
fucking-
just want that. I've driven the newer Quattroportes.
I can't zoom, but fucking what the fuck is this?
I've never driven one of these. I don't know what variant. Like Maseratis just been the absolute whore of the automotive world for like
Yeah.
the past like 40 years.
Yeah.
This vehicle is paid off. I fucking hope so.
Yeah. I hope you're not paying payments on it. Why, here, maybe, why? I'm always interested. So no reviews. One active listing.
I can't. Can you say that first name for me? Is that Jamie?
I think
Is
it's
that
Jamie.
supposed to be
I think
Jamie?
it's Jamie. Yeah. Well, very interesting. Yeah, I didn't know these were that ridiculous. The $4,000
Oh,
is funny.
yeah.
What
Dude,
did it?
the
And it didn't
spread.
have a description at all.
No.
Right? So
keep
just-
going. Keep going.
Yeah.
That's not an unrealistic price for them. You'll find them. I don't know who thinks they're getting 30 or 13 or any of that.
Yeah,
for that.
$15,000. No, thank you.
7.
wonder-
That's a little sharp. I was seeing it from about 5. I was looking at these and turbo Porsche Cayennes.
Oh, the
They-
SUVs.
Yeah, have you ever driven a
dude.
turbo
I
one?
haven't. But I
Dude,
was.
they're so fast.
Dude, I know, and I was trying to sell that to Adrian, and I was like, dude, I think they might be like kind of slept on.
They are.
Like-
yeah. Dude, that's a powerful car.
Yeah.
But they don't really work.
Oh yeah, no, but like
So that
yeah.
makes them really cheap,
Yeah.
which is cool.
I
Like
mean,
there you go,
like
right there. Turbo S Sport, $6,000.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, and so they have like tons of like active like ride height suspension.
Oh yeah, it's
and
horrible.
like a
It doesn't
super-
work.
I mean, there's some enthusiasts out there that can drive a hard bargain, but to your point, there's a lot of people out there that drive a hard bargain for flat Earth. So
Yeah.
I guess if you go searching,
They're gonna be
for,
pissed when they find out the world's actually a vampire.
yeah, they're just in a matrix, and they're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, you guys wasted all your time on that.
The thing I find fascinating about these is they're always crazy high miles. Oh, that's not a Turbo S. Go back. That's a VR6. You fuck.
Yeah,
Try to hit you with the old razzle dazzle.
yeah, they got us.
But no, you look at a lot of them, and they're like 180,000 miles. I'm like, how did you go this far?
Yeah.
How did you get here?
Well, I mean, they had yeah, I know, right? But I mean, they had to $1,000.
45,000 miles. I have that. I find that hard to believe.
Parts only.
If it's available, it will only $75 everything. Everything for $75. That seems like a good deal.
It seems like a how to get robbed.
How I lost $75 at gunpoint.
Dude, just wrote a whole book.
Yeah.
It's like 6 pages long.
So anyway, I showed up with $75 and he pulled out a gun.
Oh my god! Oh, this heap.
You're
There's
looking at the
fucking-
bad ones. There's better ones.
But I need it. I need the heaps. Right? I'm here for
Look,
the
right
heaps.
next to it. $6,000. Oh, you just want to skip past that one.
No, I'm here for it.
It's good when it's got that like graffiti style writing.
Yeah.
That's
good stuff.
yeah. I look for
Saturday.
I look for emojis in the listings.
Oh, this is actually a turbo.
Like if it says the car is 100 with like the little 100 with the underlines, I know it's probably pretty good.
It's got to be.
Yeah, like that's got to run.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
like
gotta
the
be like
CarPlay
99.
that was put in with a hammer. That's a nice touch.
Bro, that is rough. Holy shit.
It looks like they hacksawed the interior
Yeah,
part
dude.
to put that in.
Yeah.
But dude, like if that runs and drives, that might only go 5 miles, but it's gonna be a fun run. Dude,
Yeah,
they
it's gonna
are
be a fun
cruise
fucking 5
missiles.
miles.
That is the original Trackhawk.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's where this started.
Yeah.
And like people are like, oh, like the X5M came out in like 2000.
But they weren't this fast. Like these are
The
fast.
first X5Ms were like the E70 X5M was pretty quick. I
Yeah.
forget when they came out, maybe 11. But dude, these were out in 04. Like you get a turbo Cayenne in 2004. That's just the wheels.
Oh. Sorry, I have a sensory overload. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is
Zach was asking me about these. He was looking at them and like, dude, if you look at like a base Cayenne,
yeah.
they're nothing.
Yeah.
Like with the VR6, like you can get them like $2,000-3,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What do you think about that?" I'm like, "Oh, they kind of suck." And he goes, "I might just have one to like tow my boat around. Whether you get to the boat ramp and you're back in your boat, and I'm like, you would look like such a douchebag. I am here for it."
Hell
Like,
yeah.
dude, that's what I would do. Like, I was looking,
Yeah.
I'm like, that'd be a good winter beater.
Yeah.
It's 4-wheel drive, heated, cooled seats.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be a
exactly.
turbo. Like, I'll take the shitty little whatever VR6.
Yeah.
They come with. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, what else could you ask for to break down in?
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Wouldn't you want to just break down in a car like this and just have to hang out in this for hours while you're waiting for a tow truck? And for people who are following along and give a fuck, this is what it should have looked like in the fucking display. Yeah, no, I don't know how I fucking fell into a YouTube rabbit hole, but yeah, somebody was like rock hard for these things, and they were,
I'm all for them.
yeah, they were going
Dude,
on
I
about
drove
these-
a,
but the what's the active suspension, like obviously, like it's an air system, I believe. And I think that
I don't know exactly what Porsche does, but there's a lot of variants of it. So like
Okay.
BMW does active suspension. They do hydraulic sway bars.
but not like active suspension. They do like it will like literally like raise the ride height.
Yeah.
like it does.
I
wild
think
shit.
I don't know what,
And, as
all-
far
like,
as
I don't know where the
off-road
line's drawn.
capability,
but Cayennes, everyone I have ran into, I'm not saying it's all of them, but everyone I have ran into is 4-corner air. So it's air struts on every single corner, so
Yeah.
you can jack them up like remarkably high,
Okay.
or you can dump them on their face.
John.
I'm listening, man.
John.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
You and I pull up in something like this. You thought a TI. I
don't know where we're going.
You thought you were a little overbeared with the amount of puss from a TI. I mean, imagine.
A Cayenne limo.
A Cayenne limo. They're going to be like, oh my God, who's getting out of this? And then immediately, phone numbers.
It's me behind it. I'm just pushing this thing.
I know, they just...
Dude,
they literally made it worse.
That's a lot of Cayenne to push.
That's a lot of Cayenne to push. Yeah, you might not make it. What other car has been on your radar? I was kind of interested to see what was going to pop up on my.
Well, I can just tell you like what's on my immediate marketplace, and it's always just horrible garbage. All right, let's see marketplace. First thing that pops up: '89 Escort, 2008 Aston Martin. A lot of motorcycle shit. Oh, there you go. 1990 Grand Prix GTP.
Oh, hell yeah.
You better hide your daughters.
Dude, I just found an old Grand Am. Remember those?
Yeah.
Remember
dude,
Grand Ams
anything
of the
Pontiac
V6
did in the late 90s, early 2000s, I am all for.
Yeah. I forget how you can get to your fucking saved stuff. Is this? No.
You got to go to your scroll all the way up. And then, I don't know what that is.
I know. It's so different on the computer.
Go to the sidebar. And then scroll down. And it should be one that says, like, you or something, maybe.
Free stuff.
Not like free stuff.
Yeah, dude, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, quite odd. Yeah, I'll take one. But yeah, I found a Grand Am, which was pretty sick.
So when I was in high school, a friend of mine had a Grand Prix.
RX-7
GXPs with the supercharger on it.
Yeah, dude.
That was a bad
hell
bitch.
fucking yeah.
And that's still to this day. I'm gonna get me a Fiero, and it's getting that's the swap. Like that's what dudes do.
Yeah. And that's Adrian talked about doing that with his, which his is almost back on the road. He needed a starter.
Is that the one I sold him?
Yeah.
He still has it?
Yeah. He's got to put a starter in it, and
I put a starter. That's a brand new starter.
that's not good.
It's a brand new starter and a brand new alternator.
That's not good. Yeah, so he's doing that, and then man, I wish he was here.
That thing. That's probably why he's not here. He might still be bitter. He might still be upset about it.
Yeah, but he's got.
I was driving one around today, dude. It was awesome.
Yeah, he's got tons of cooling system stuff to do to it.
Yeah.
Put it all back together, and then he'll be ready for the road. But yeah. But yeah, those would be sick. And this is a 1993 RX-7 with an LS6. It says LS6 557 swap.
That's one of the like poop hole loopholes I've never understood with like the LS bros. I think LS6 is supposed to be a modified LS1.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it actually means.
I've always found it weird to hear V8 noises coming from especially an FD. I don't know about you, but like when I see an FD, it has to have that like that brap, you know? That's my JDM wet dream. Yeah.
I don't care about Supras. I don't care about R34s or any of the Skyline variants. I'm an FD guy.
Yeah.
And I love LSs, but I'm kind of with you. Like it's kind of got to be. You got to kind of keep it a rotary.
Yeah. Like
I saw a
even
shell.
like a 1J. You put a 1J or a 2J, something like that in it. Like keep it the JDM noise. You know. Like I think it still should have a rotary, but like the LS is just so wrong.
Yeah. I found one a couple of years ago. There was a dude pretty loco who was in media. He was selling a red FD shell for $7,500.
Damn.
With a title. And I'm like,
oh shit. Adrian and I found a red one day. It was like like first thing in the morning. We'd started work, and he was just like happened to be on his phone before we got like started, and he was like, "Bro, do we just leave?" And like it was not that far. I think it was in like Connecticut, and it was just disgusting. Like sitting in like someone's backyard next to a shed, so it was all gross. But it was red, and I think they only wanted like $3,500 for it. And I was like, "Bro, that's crazy." And like it didn't run, but like. You know, the whole car was there, and he's like, "Dude, if it's still there, I might call him after work," and it was gone.
Yeah,
after we got off work.
Shit like that goes quick.
Yeah,
this one never went anywhere. He had the windshield out of it.
You meant this? I was like, "Yeah, this one's not going anywhere. This one's never gonna."
1964 Sim. I think they're making shit up.
Yeah.
I think it fucks.
Yeah, it does fuck. Yeah, what's your take on Mini Coopers?
Gay.
Yeah. Even though John works, I mean,
yep.
I mean, arguably they are like they're fast. You know, they've had fast corners. You know, they seem to be like pretty capable.
They're in the same wheelhouse to me as Miatas. Those
brother,
mini trucks, fuck,
brother. What now? Now, can I give you a proposition? If I were to come in contact with a cargo,
we looked into this.
Yeah.
We looked into it.
You would be down if I had gotten one.
Yeah, so we budgeted all this out. It was going to be about $50,000. Yeah. To get a cargo container full of these things.
Yeah, you can get like 11 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you end up keeping 2 or 3 to yourself, and then you sell the rest. You make all your money back.
Yeah.
You might not come out on top, but you got 2 or 3 of them to yourself.
Well, yeah. Now you and the bros all have mini trucks.
Yeah. From what I've gathered I looked into the whole like importing shit, and if you don't know somebody,
you're probably gonna get fucked.
It seems like you're gonna.
You're gonna get fucked. Yeah.
And it seems once you kind of find your pipeline in, and you the guys to talk to and all that, like shit works pretty well. But they go for about $5,000 stateside. Yeah. It seems like if you're just gonna like, do you want to sit on 11 of these things? Because I don't really want to.
I do. Do you imagine? You know,
if you buy one, I will buy one. Yeah. I'm waiting for somebody else to buy one. Yeah. I will buy one, and I'll K-swap it. And I'll fucking die in this thing.
Yeah, dude, I kind of do secretly just want a skid steer. As you know, my driveway's not paved, and actually this week it's.
What does that have to do with anything? When your driveway's not paved, like Keith, you should get a skid steer.
Well, if
you're right.
Step one is you need a skid steer to get that done.
Okay.
So I thought about doing it myself, but
how is the skid steer going to pave your driveway?
It's not going to pave it, but it's going to put all the stone and rock and get it all. In and graded correctly, and then
you're able-bodied,
dude. That's a lot of rock out there, brother. I'm not doing.
I thought you worked out, man.
Yeah, I do, but I would rather get into a fucking dude.
Look, man,
doesn't a skid steer sound like fun?
If you want the skid steer, just tell me you want the skid steer.
Dude, I just want the skid steer.
Okay,
that's all it is.
Then buy the fucking skid steer.
Are you sure? Can I? How do I? What's the Step Brothers? She's like, it's like, how do I explain this? I don't give a fuck. And you're like, so... Like,
I just want lawn
you can make
equipment.
bunk pits.
I want...
Oh, sick.
That was a bucket truck. No, fuck the Volvo. Go back to the bucket truck. I want the bucket truck. I want that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm going to do with that? I'm going to get on your fucking roof.
Dude, fuck
I'm
that.
I'm going to pull up to your house. You don't know me. I'm on your roof. And you're like, yeah, like, what are you doing? Like, you're not going to... What are you going to do? I'm in a bucket truck.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a professional.
Yeah. It does. It is kind of like...
That's a dump bucket truck. Why does a bucket truck need to dump?
I was going to say, this is the whole package. This is the whole package.
Oh, it's probably a tree truck.
Bro, it's got a Cummins in it. That's a Ford F-350. It's a Fummins. F-750. Bro, that's intense.
Wait, hold on. Why does it say pistol grip control? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, but it is a weird point. Where like, yo.
Oh, it's a manual trans too. That's fucking badass,
dude.
Manual Cummins and a 750.
Yeah.
Bucket dump,
with a sick ass platform.
You know how many fucking parties I could have up there,
dude?
Imagine a bunch of white chicks up there.
Just some thick old,
like
thick old hoes,
just doing what they do.
God damn. I mean, for $35,000, it's a 13. I don't know.
I've spent $35,000 in worse ways.
Seems like a good deal. We'll call that a good deal. So if you're in the market,
Your marketplace is fucked.
my marketplace is fucked. A Sportster.
Gay.
Gay. Yeah, so I try to explain this to Adrian that he said that, you know, if he were ever to get like that kind of bike, that he thought it was going to be a Sportster. And I was like, yeah, like Sportster's a great bike. I can't say that it looks bad. I was like, but it's a woman's bike. I was like, there's no getting around that. I don't care what you do to it. And I was like, there's so many other bikes out there that fill that same void. But he's like, no, the engines sound different. And I'm like, okay, you got to understand that you're riding a woman's bike. And as long as you're okay with rolling up next to a woman that's
On the
riding
same bike.
the same bike. And he's like, yeah.
Well, no, what gets
and he's
worse
like,
than that is you roll up next to a woman on a bigger bike.
Yeah.
You're on a sports and you roll up next to a chick on a Softail and you're like, ugh. Or you roll up to a chick on a bagger and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. I had a Sportster. I'm a small guy.
Yeah.
Adrian's a small guy.
Yeah, it works.
You're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to go buy a Road Glide.
But as it turns out, you can handle it.
Yeah, so I bought a Sportster. I loved my Sportster. It was an awesome bike. I loved it to death. And then I grew up, and then I bought a bagger.
Yeah.
And then I rode the bagger for a couple years, and then I got kind of tired of that, and now I bought a Softail because I wanted something like smaller.
Yeah. Back to it.
I get all sides of it.
Yeah.
I'll buy another Sportster.
Yeah.
I'll make it into a chopper because like I'm not a chick or nothing.
Yeah.
I would 100% support him, and I would try and my best to talk him into buying a Sportster. And then as soon as he pulled the trigger on that, I would immediately start making fun of him because that's exactly what I did to Pat. Pat came down, he's like, he fought the whole motorcycle thing, and he came out, and he'd like hang out with us, and like we would all ride, and he would just follow us in the car, and he's like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, fuck that.
I was like, buy a bike. And he's like, he was nervous about it. I'm like, buy a Sportster. I was like, it's a fun platform.
Yeah.
Like, they are awesome bikes.
Yeah.
And so I ended up buying a Sportster, and as soon as he bought it, I joined like an anti-Sportster page on Instagram, and it's like everything like, oh, you have a Sportster, you're gay, you're a chick, and we'll just send them all to me. And she's like, dude, you told me to buy this bike. I'm like, bag it.
Oh my god, dude, that's so good. Yeah, and like Adrian said, he's like, yeah, dude, I'm totally fine with it. I don't care. And I'm like, dude, like you're gonna care when you get there. Like once you get to that point, you're gonna care.
Yeah.
But
I feel like a lot of it's different when you're small, though.
yeah, no, 100%.
Like I've always been small.
Yeah.
So like whatever. You ride a Sportster up to the meet, and you're like, oh, like you see some dude pull up on a Sportster, and you're like, like he's a skinny dude, whatever. He's small. You see some big meathead. Like I see big dudes ride little bikes, and they come pulling up, and they're like, they get off, and they're like, oh, I'm a fucking big guy. I'm like, yeah, you just got all of that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You don't want to pick up an adult's bike. You fucking pussy.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, Adrian's small, and like, and he really did like do his research, and he does like genuinely want the bike for what it is.
Dude, they're awesome.
Yeah,
I miss mine. I wish I never would have got rid of mine.
Yeah,
it was an awesome bike.
Yeah, and I remember I almost bought your bike. Maybe you were like enticing me to try to buy it.
Yeah, it was
as
a good
one
bike.
would do when they're trying to sell their bike.
It's a good bike. It was a good color.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think this is pretty good on our Facebook Marketplace. I don't see anything else fun and more exciting, but we'll be going for a while. So
yeah, we're down to the buy here, pay here.
Yeah, it's getting rough.
I'm gonna start calling places until my credit score is 220 and see what they say. See what I can get.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. This has been fun. Let's get the fuck out of here.
All right.
Cool.
Baby, let me take you for a ride. It's crazy that we on the